Late, ain't I? Cut my hair this morning. Check that out. Oh, let's see. Who do we have in here this morning? We got Don Lee and Leslie Smith. And looks like 10 other people. We got 12 people in here, 5 thumbs up. All right. Thank you guys for smashing that thumbs up. Hopefully you guys aren't too far behind. It takes a little bit, I know. Once I finally go live, for you guys to, or for the chat to start going. Oh, so I titled this one something like, "Is this the end?" We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So I just got my breakfast sandwich scarf down. I've never done this before, but I cooked up 2 eggs and some hash browns and put hash browns on my sandwich. It's pretty good. I can recommend it. 9 people in here. Shoot dang, we're losing people. Gonna have to call Code Blue. It is the end. Is this the end of my YouTube channel? Is this the end of the world as we know it? Guys, I was just messing around with my phone and the thumbnail maker app. I got up super early, well, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning early, and popped the hatch open on the top of the bus, and I started taking pictures. And so I got a really cool picture of the moon, cool picture of, you know, looking out over the top of the front of the bus, and just started playing around. And so I decided to make that, and I said, maybe I should use this as a thumbnail. And is it clickbait? Maybe, maybe not. It's not really clickbait. Is this the end of my YouTube channel? No, it's not the end of it, but things are definitely going to be a lot different because of the way things have panned out here recently. I'm going to have to get a job, all that kind of stuff. Guys, let me know if you can hear me and see me, because I'm not seeing any chat in here at all. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the chat. Oh, I see Like a Bully Homestead in there now. He said, "Good morning." Yeah, the chat is not moving. So here recently I got the solar hooked up. I'm still working on the wiring, getting the stuff in the back end of the bus wired up. I actually have all that hooked up in the junction box up front. I've got the wire run down over top of the fender well, and then down through the floor, over across, and then back up. That way it doesn't have to go along the ceiling or along the floor on the inside, you know, to where it would be kind of a trip hazard or smack me in the head hazard type thing. So it took me a while to figure out exactly how I was going to route that. And I got to thinking about it. It's like, why not just go down through the floor, underneath, and then back up? Yeah, took me a minute. But let's see. Like a Bully said, you missed quite a few chats. Did I? Don Lee says, I can see and hear you just fine. Kyler Compton, thumbs up. Thank you, Kyler. Billy NC, hello. Yeah, I don't know like how much I missed. I just see like some stuff from Don Lee. Then there's Leslie Smith, and then Adam, Kyler, Billy NC, and Elizabeth Rojas. What's up? Good morning. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this thing. YouTube is doing weird stuff here lately. I may have to renew my app or update my app, whatever. So the let's see, just like 4 or 5. Okay, that sucks. There's the Caucasian Sasquatch. Good morning. Don Lee said, hey Elizabeth. So last night was the first full night of running, like, well, I ended up turning my laptop off just to try and, you know, conserve energy. But all day yesterday, while we had sun and everything, I had my cooler up here. It's a 12 volt igloo cooler. It's not a refrigerator. It's not a freezer. It's just a cooler. All right. So basically, it's what a lot of truck drivers use for many, many years in their semi trucks for as a refrigerator. And for 20 some odd years, it's worked for me. I haven't had this one for that long, but I've used two. I own three. One of them is sitting in the back in my backyard, just laying out there. The other one is in the garage. It's a smaller one. It's not big enough. I mean, that thing is like a day camper or a day tripper type thing. You just throw it in your vehicle, plug it into 12 volt, and it helps chill your drinks and stuff like that. And they work good, mainly if you have air conditioning. So this summer, when it gets up to 100 degrees outside, that cooler is probably not going to work so good unless I have air conditioning that can run during the daytime to bring that temp down, because these coolers, I think they only will drop the temperature like 20 or 30 degrees at the most from the ambient temperature around them. So that could be an issue. I mean, right now it's keeping everything plenty cold, but when we get up there the 80, 90 degree mark, it's going to probably start being an issue. So I'm going to have to look into either getting a refrigerator that I can run, a 12 volt compressor style refrigerator that will run off of the 12 volt here, and not deplete my batteries completely, or I'm going to have to get a lot more solar put on the roof of the bus and have air conditioning, like a mini split or something in here that will help drop, bring the temperature down to 60, 70 degrees inside the bus. Let's see, let me catch up here. Cord Jackson, what's up? Good morning. What do you guys think of that thumbnail I put out there? I put a lot of work into that about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, not this morning, but the morning before. I put that out there yesterday, so I put this live out there yesterday to see if it would do any better, just to kind of like putting the word out there that we're going live type thing. And it was a little bit clickbaity, but at the same time it's not. Things are definitely going to have to change around here, or I'm going to lose this place. So I got to get a job, and that's going to mean not putting as many videos out there. There's Roberta. Roberta's Artistic Adventures. Good morning. Hope you're having an awesome day. Like a Billy Homestead said, there was a thumbnail? Man, you got to go back and look at it. That thing was awesome. At least I thought it was. I did a whole bunch of different ones, just messing around with that thumbnail maker app, and just trying to make some cool stuff. I thought about maybe doing a series talking about things that people don't like to talk about on YouTube, but people like to talk about. Or, well, let's rephrase that. Maybe YouTube doesn't like you to talk about, but people like to talk about, right? Kind of political, controversial stuff, that sort of stuff. But I may need to do that on one of my other channels that's not monetized, because I don't think I want to mess up my channel. We got Rolling with Raquel in here. Is that who it is? Let's see. Yeah, there she is. Good morning. Adam says it does look cool. Man, Adam, I cannot believe you. I was really we were in a live chat, MT Homestead. I was over there watching their live stream, and they were doing this big old giveaway, and then their daughter had these handmade kind of wash mittens, I guess you might call them, stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that'd be cool to have in the bus, because I mean, I realize how much work goes into that handmade stuff like that. And I love handmade stuff. That is really the basis of this channel right here, is, you know, inspiring people to create, right? Inspire people to be creative. And so I really, really like that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, I hope I can win one. And Adam, I guess, had won twice, and then he like paid it forward or whatever. He gave me my choice of, you know, to pick one of the two things that he had won. I'm like, well, shoot, give me a shirt. I'd like to have a shirt. I've got MT Homestead coffee mugs and stuff, and I was like, I'd like to have a shirt. Adam, you're super awesome, man. Thank you so much. Like a boy said, politics, I'm out. I don't know that I want to really talk so much politics. It's more like, are there aliens? You know, are there aliens among us? And, you know, is the world coming to an end type thing? And that's kind of the thought process behind the thumbnail that I was creating. And, you know, not thinking, oh, is this the end of my channel or something like that. And then since I put that out there, I've had people call me and like, are you quitting YouTube? I'm like, no. Why would I quit YouTube? Even if I go out and let's say if I went over the road full time, then my content would change a bit. I would still, you know, be doing the bus build and stuff over time. That's why right now, before I get a job, I'm really pushing to get as much done on this as possible and get it, you know, fully off grid, to where it basically I can go out of town or whatever, leave it set, and it's kind of, you know, does its own thing, maintains itself and everything while I'm gone, and then I come back and everything's good. But yeah, let's see. I see the chat moving here. Rebecca Davis, Touched by Yarn, good morning. She said, good morning to all my friends on YouTube. Let's see. Hi all, still waiting for video to load. YouTube has really been a pain in the butt lately. Yep. I uploaded a video the other day and it took forever. And it actually took so long that an entire day went by and I forgot to post it. So it will be coming out tonight at 5 o'clock, I believe. Let's see. Why not do the roof conveniently and increase capacity? I mean, I know recharging is already the issue, but won't it be charging when running? Yeah. Anytime the sun is out, the solar is charging. But doing, I think what you meant, not conveniently, I think you meant completely. That's a money issue. If I had the money, I would do about 90% of the roof of the bus and solar panels, but I don't have that kind of money. I would love to get this solar system built up to about at least 1,200 watts. And I want like 4 different charge controllers and a whole bunch of batteries. But that's thousands and thousands of dollars that I don't have. Steve Carlson, what's up, man? He said, grateful, thankful, and blessed. Good Friday tonight. Jesus Christ bleed died on the cross. Yep. Oh, is today actually? I thought it was on Sunday. Isn't Easter on Sunday? Today's not Sunday. It's Friday. Oh yeah. Well, that would. You're right, Stephen. I just didn't think about it. Now I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Yes, they are among us. Well, there you go. Elizabeth Rojas just answered everything for us right there. We don't even need to wonder. We do have aliens among us. Caucasian Sasquatch. Yes, aliens. Probably not among us. No intelligent life on this planet. You gotta think and wonder, if aliens was to show up here, another species or life form or something was to come here to this world, and let's say they look just like us, but they have the knowledge of, you know, wherever they've lived before, and they come here, what would they think of us? When they see us with all of our wars and all the political battles going on in the world, Elon Musk and him, you know, he's pretty smart in what he's doing right now and trying to take over Twitter to get, you know, gain that power. I see a lot of duct tape on people's mouths going on in the world. That's what I see politically going on, is people with political power trying to put duct tape on the mouths of the common man, or at least being able to, you know, quieten them. I mean, they don't care if I put stuff out there. If I say certain things, they don't care if I say it, and they may not demonetize it, but they're not going to put it out there in front of people. So if I say certain words or whatever, they're gonna probably not take it down, but they're not going to put it out there in front of people. So they're basically putting duct tape over your mouth, and they have crazy amount of power with the ability to shut people up by letting them put whatever they want out there, but at the same time, you know, they don't put it out in front of people, so your words don't get out there to people. I see a lot of that going on in the world right now. There's a lot of politics going on by supposedly non-political people. FedEx is hiring with awesome sign-on bonuses. I know it. So is Walmart. But those are sucky companies. Those are the kind of companies that, that's why I found myself where I am today, because I don't want to work for somebody like that. But at the same time, I mean, it's good money. But I don't know. Right now, really, it looks like good money, but it's actually just leveling out, you know, because the price of everything is going through the roof, so you have to make more money. The sad thing is there's a lot of people out there that's been working the same job for the last 20, 30 years, and they're not, I mean, their cost of living raises that they get aren't keeping up. I mean, it's not like you're actually making more money for being there for so long. That's one thing I see, and I hate that. And the other thing I've seen is like Walmart. I've seen them hire people in, and actually somebody who's worked there for the last 10 years be making, let's say, X amount, you know, let's just say $5 an hour, right? And then they hire somebody in today and they pay them $5.50, you know. I've seen that in a lot of different companies, and I'm just like, what's there to encourage people to stay there for a long time? I mean, that almost makes a person want to quit and then get rehired just to get another 50 cents an hour, you know. I've seen that when I worked for companies like that, and it's very discouraging. And then the other thing is why I don't want to work for companies like that is having to be gone all of the time, having to work 80 hours a week. I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I want to be able to be home every day and, you know, be able to come home to the bus or my house or whatever, do some work on the house, try to get it ready to sell. Yeah, I don't need to make $100,000 a year. I don't need to go out there and work that hard. There's a lot of other people that need a job too. And if I'm going out there doing the work of 2 or 3 people, that kind of is taken away from other people, you know, getting a job. So I don't want to get necessarily a full-time job. And what I would consider a part-time job is about 40 hours a week. Caucasian Sasquatch said, okay, I get it. Was just curious. Yeah, I mean, the 600 watts that I put on the roof, and then the batteries and everything, that whole setup was very expensive. It was a lot of money. But at the same time, I'll show you guys something here. Let's see. This right here, let me, I'll cover up. Well, Hang on just a second. Let me mark out my account number right here. Let's see. I don't want to put any personal information out there. Just scribble out some stuff. All right. See that right there? What is that? 570 amount due. That's my electric bill. That's what it is every month. 507. They put me on a levelized deal to where that's what we pay every month to get things caught up. That's a lot of money. And so if I can, take my tax return for 1 year and get solar set up in the bus to where I never have to pay an electric bill ever again, or basically lower my electric bill here at the house while I still have it, that I think that is money well spent. To never have to pay the electric company a bill ever again. At some point, I got to get this caught up and everything. But yeah, if you figure, let's say it cost me $3,000. I can't remember exactly the dollar amount that I spent on everything for the solar system. But let's say it was $3,000. How many months at $500 and something a month? I mean, that's a very short period of time before you're actually caught up on, and then you're making money back, right? You got your return on investment already in just, 5-6 months, and you're here in the green or whatever they call that, or in the black, where you're doing good. I seen like Adam at Like a Boy Homestead. I think for at least the first whole year out there, I don't think he really run a generator or anything. He was running off of solar on his homestead. That guy is off grid. There's not even a remote chance of them getting power out there on that property. It would cost an astronomical amount of money. Even though there's actually a government fund out there specifically for getting power onto people's properties. And people don't even realize that that's a thing. And the government actually puts millions of dollars into that every year. But these electric companies just take advantage of it. And whenever it comes down to putting power onto someone's property, they want to charge. They say, well, we only go so far, because that's the limitations that the power company, wherever you live, has put into place. But the government actually gives them a subsidy already to get power out onto people's places. So that's pretty crazy. And it's been around for a long time. I know it was a good 10 or 15 years ago that I heard about it for the first time, and it had been around for a very long time. That's a subsidy that power company's been getting for a long, long time. I think it's about time that we go in and we start reevaluating some of these subsidies that are going out to power companies and stuff like that, because they're just taking advantage of it. That's money they're taking from the government every year that they get, and they don't go out and actually do what they're supposed to be doing with that money. Don Lee said, aliens come here, shake their heads, and leave quickly. Probably. Joy Bless Life saying, hi, everybody. We got 35 people in here and 20 thumbs up. Thank you all for hitting that thumbs up. Adam said, I'm an alien. Or, I'm an alien. Don't believe me, just ask me. Desiree Sampier, good morning. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the beginning of the end of the world. I've always wanted to say that. Who was that did the, oh, darn it. I can never remember things right off the top of my head. But the guy that did the radio show way back when, and I can't even remember. He was talking about aliens showing up or something. people tuning in and just freaking out. They literally thought it was the end of the world. I can't. It was a book that I read, and I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it was Dawn Wells. I, I, I could be wrong. But you aren't looking for a long-term job, right, David? Well, I am looking for a long-term job. It's not. That's the thing, is I don't want to go work for a company and just work for a little bit and quit. Make a little money and then quit. I want a job where I can pay my bills, make enough money to pay the bills and have a little left over to put into the house here to get it fixed up. It's going to take me a long time to clean this yard up and get this place, in ship shape to where I could actually sell it. Now, am I going to sell it or not? That's left to be determined. That's my plan, but my wife also has to find a place to go. My kids have to have a place to live, and as of right now, I'm not building the bus for them to live in. It's going to be just for me and for me to travel in and everything. So, I mean, I may end up keeping the bus, keeping the house for an extended period of time, for years or something. With the housing market the way it is right now, it's a white hot freaking housing market right now. And it would, it'd be in my best interest to sell it, financially. But at the same time, that pretty much forces my wife and kids to find another place to live like really quickly. And I know that my wife is not like set up financially right now to be able to just move out and jump into a place right now. So, yeah, it's going to be a little while. So, I mean, at the same time, I have a place to park the bus, a place to live. I'm living in the bus right now. Granted, I can go inside and cook in there if I want, but I've got the griddle right here. And I've got the well water here. So it's almost like having an RV hookup spot. A place that I can call my own. That whatever goes on here is up to me. I get to decide who comes and goes, who gets to stay here, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to just put the house on the market and sell it and be rid of it, but at the same time, I probably would lose my butt on it. I wouldn't even get what I have invested in this property. I wouldn't probably get that back with the condition of the house. Another thing, I guess, that I should let everyone know, because you've watched my channel for a while and you know that we had the beagle, and she wasn't doing so good. Well, she actually passed away yesterday. It was very sad. It was a rough day for me yesterday. So I had to take care of that. I really didn't do much on the bus yesterday. I ended up coming in here, did a little bit of wiring and stuff, and that was about it. I did not shoot video on anything. It was just, I don't know, one of them kind of dark, gloomy days, and it was pretty sad. So, yeah, we no longer have the beagle. We've just got one dog and 2 cats now, and 4 chickens. Well, I got 3 hens and 4 roosters. I keep forgetting about the 3 roosters in the pen. And if anybody wants some roosters, come and get them. I've got 3 great big fat Australorps, and they just eat up food. They don't, they're locked up in the chicken run, and I would love to give those away to a good home. Anyone who needs roosters, come and get them. Just bring you a pet carrier or something like that, because they're not the type that you can let be free in your vehicle, because they will attack you. And you should probably only get one, because if you take all 3 of them and you get them around hens, they will fight. Enjoy Blessed Life shared somebody's link. I don't know what that is. Is there a Coca-Cola plant over there? You could get day delivery routes with them. I know there's Coca-Cola like delivery stuff like in Joplin, not not really close to where I am. There's a trucking company that I'm considering going back to work for as a driver. I put in an application to basically kind of work in the office, and I haven't been selected for that as of yet. I don't know how long they're going to be looking for a person for that. I don't know how you could really find anybody more better suited for that. I think they would rather just have me drive a truck, to be honest. Well, let's see. Well, there goes my shopping spree on David's card. LOL. What? What are you talking about? A shopping spree on my card? Well, if you use my card, you're not gonna get nothing. I don't have any credit cards whatsoever. All I have is my debit card. Um, my bank, I'm still fighting with them because I had two accounts open uh, underneath my main account. I had money in those accounts, and my bank just decided to take the money that was in there. Granted, it wasn't very much money, but they just took it and closed out those accounts. I said, "What the heck? Why do you guys just take? You know, it was about $20 that they took. There was $10 in each one, and they just took it and closed them out." And they said, "Well, you didn't have money in there." And I said, "Well, I did have money in there, so I don't know what happened to that money. I don't know. It's crazy." Cindy Brown said, "Damn, y'all pay a crap ton for electric." That's cheap. That 570, whatever it is, in the wintertime, it is usually $900 to $1,000 a month because the heat and air in that house is messed up. We've had mice or something get in there underneath the house and get into the ductwork, so there's some holes in the ductwork. So when you use the heat and air, the heat pump outside unit is burn up, so it runs off the emergency heat strips all the time to heat the house. And so we've been using propane and space heaters just to get it down that low. Normally, when it gets really, really cold, we have to use the emergency heat strips to warm up the whole house. And so typically our electric bill is around close to $1,000, sometimes a little over, depending on just how cold it is. And so in the really cold months, I've been trying to use the propane Mr. Heater to supplement the heat in the house. But yeah, that 500 and something ain't nothing. You would think that the electric bill would be way cheaper, especially with me not doing a whole lot of woodworking here recently. Yeah, just been trying to kind of lay off on that. Some people might be like, "Well, how come you don't do woodworking videos, or how come you don't get out there and run the sawmill?" Well, that stuff costs money. It costs gas, to put in the sawmill. To do woodworking, that raises the electric bill. So, yeah, that's kind of the reasons why. And then I'm trying to focus on working on the bus and getting it finished out. So I don't know that there'll really be any sawmilling videos out there. I had someone comment the other day that they're looking forward to me getting the sawmill back in working order or whatever. And I'm like, the sawmill is in working order. So some people, I don't know if they just assume things or if they just simply don't watch my videos, and they'll catch a video every now and then. I think what it was is they seen me out there with my sawmill in the background, and I'm milling a log with a chainsaw. I guess some people are like, well, maybe they assume that the sawmill's broke down. It's not broke down. So I don't know. I get some of the weirdest comments that I read it, and I gotta stop and sit there and think about it, and I'm wondering, like, what the hell is going through this person's head that they left this comment that just makes no sense to me. It's basically like they just assume things, I guess. I don't know. But I get that a lot of times, and then sometimes I'll delete their comment because I don't want them to later on be embarrassed by it. I mean, it depends on the comment, but like a boy said, holy crap. Let's see, Caucasian Sasquatch said, I'm asking because I have a bus barge concept, a boathouse, boat bus thing. I was going to use a jet ski power plant. Okay, what were you asking? I think I missed your comment. Okay. Money aside, are you planning to include an alternator to charge your battery bank? If not, why not? Well, I want to get a DC, I think it's called a DC to DC charger. Um, but yeah, I mean, when I'm driving the bus, I would like to be able to have that charge the system. Um, but better than that, I mean, because I'm really not planning on driving the bus a whole lot. Solar should be able to maintain what I need to run on a daily basis, whether we have sun or not. I have actually sit here and watched the app on my phone when the sun has pretty well like completely gone down. I am still like creating about 70 watts of solar before it's just completely dark outside where you can't see at all. Uh, but right before it's completely dark, I'm producing 70 watts or so from those solar panels. So I mean that's pretty good, and it's not really charging the system. It's just keeping it from starting to deplete you know right away or anything. So I mean that's pretty amazing that even in really low light conditions, I'm still producing power. Um, but what I really want to do is get it to where I can just run my little generator and charge it off of that. Um, but basically, if I'm going to be running a lot of power, I'm just going to run a generator. I'm going to, when I extend my rear bumper and build a deck on the back end of the bus, I'm going to be bolting my Predator 3500 watt generator back there so I can use that, for, running power tools and stuff like that. My video that I did the other day where I, did the, freehand chainsaw milling of that log just to show people like, hey, you don't have to buy some special attachment for your chainsaw. You don't have to have a sawmill to produce a little bit of lumber. I mean, yeah, you're not going to want to go out there and make 2x4s and everything. And that's one thing I stated was I see a lot of people complaining about the price of a 2x4, but those people that are complaining about that have never, ever went out there and produced a 2x4, at least most of them. And once you see that it takes you about an hour to make one 2x4, you stop complaining that you're paying $7 or $8, maybe $9 for a 2x4, because you're like, well, shoot, at my job, most of y'all probably make better than $10 an hour. So yeah, if you expect me, I'm not talking to you guys, but there's people that come out here and buy lumber from me sometimes, and they flip out whenever a piece of oak wood costs 10 or 12 bucks, or they don't see the value in that, and they flip out on me. They start cursing me and stuff, and I'm like, are you serious? I've literally had people tell me they can go to Lowe's and buy it for less, and I'm like, no, I can show you on my phone. I can look up the prices on Lowe's and show you that what I'm charging is about a quarter of the price of what freaking Lowe's is charging. And the thing is, they're not comparing apples to apples. They're looking at pine lumber, expecting me to mill oak or some hardwood for the price of pine. And I'm just like, I can't even buy a log for what I can buy pine for. I mean, I can buy pine super cheap, right? It's kind of hard for me to get it here because pine is a little further south. I'd have to have it trucked in, and that would, it'd be a little more expensive for me to get it here. And the other thing is I don't have all the automated equipment that these big sawmills have, so I can't compete with that. That's probably one of the biggest things that is a struggle. I mean, I get a lot of you guys comment, you're like, man, you should be making a ton of money with that sawmill. And it's like, well, you would think I'd be making a ton of money with the sawmill, but you know, I've got mostly oak here. I can get cedar, but in order for me to get cedar, I have to pay a logger to go out and get that and bring it to me. Otherwise, I'm going to spend all of my time logging and not milling. So I would have to hire somebody to do all that. And all of these things take capital. Okay. And I simply don't have the capital to do it. I've had multiple people call me because I am running a business here and my number is out there for everyone. And I've had people call and say, hey, are you buying walnut? Or hey, are you buying red cedar or whatever? And I just simply have to tell them, I don't have the capital to buy it. I couldn't even buy one log from you right now. Like, that's literally what it comes down to. I would love to buy logs, but at the same time, I've got a yard full of logs right here. And if nobody wants to buy any lumber, then I'm not selling anything. So if I'm not selling anything, I can't buy anything, right? Uh, the the thing going on in the world right now is putting the small guy out of business. That's what I see going on politically in the world. They've been successful at putting the little man out of business and forcing them to have to go back to work for the big guy. That's what I see going on in the world. Man, my chat went backwards. I already read these. Let's see. Likeable, he said, I would just shut it off. You may suffer for a bit, but it can be done. I've done it for 3 years. That's basically what I did. I unplugged from the house, and my wife is the one that's got to pay the electric bill here. So, Cindy Brown said, Adam is a badass for sure. Yeah, I'm telling you, it had to be rough. It had to be rough. I just got a little taste for a little bit that I was out there at Adams, and whew, that's roughing it. I'm telling you. Adam said, I still don't own a generator. Crazy Ed, what's up, man? Good morning. He said, what is going on here today? Ed, you need to do a live and update people on what you're doing, what you got going on. I would love to just spill the beans and tell everybody about all the cool stuff Ed's doing right now. But yeah, I can't do that. He needs to do a live or something. He's holding back. I'm telling you, people. Tell him. Caucasian Sasquatch. I think so, Cindy. I'm a bit worried about it being top heavy. So a deeper draft than I'd prefer. But it could be done, I believe. Yeah, I don't know anything about that deal you're talking about doing. A barge or something, I guess that would be kind of cool. You said you live in the swamp, but I just don't know exactly what that entails. I guarantee you people would like to watch some stuff on that, some content on, living in the marshlands and stuff like that. I mean, do you live out in a swamp or kind of on ground, like solid ground? Okay, I'm going off of, like, here's what I'm picturing in my head. The water boy. Like, literally living on a floating house out in the marshland. Is that what it's like down there? People want to know. Seriously, like, people want to know. Awesome Sauce 753 said, good point. I don't know what point I made that you're talking about, but thank you very much. Orson Welles, that's who it was. I don't even remember what I said before. Something Welles, wasn't it? Yeah, Orson Welles, that's who it was that did that radio show. Freaked a lot of people out. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. War of the Worlds, Orson Welles, that's what it is. Man, I'm so far behind. I just know I am. And I feel fine. Dawn Wells was a singer and actress, LOL. Well, Dawn Wells, was that off of Andy Griffith? Dawn Wells, was that Barney? Man, my brain. Let's see. Joy Blessed Life said, I've seen YouTuber friends get jobs with Walmart delivery, Spark, driver it pays higher mileage, or DoorDash. Yeah, I've done all that. Uber Eats doesn't pay worth a flip around here. Uh, yeah, working for Walmart Spark doesn't pay worth a flip around here. It when you actually know things, like you've ran a trucking company before and you know what it costs to maintain a vehicle, don't work for Walmart Spark. I mean, that is the worst thing you could do. You're literally running your vehicle into the ground and you're not making a dime. That's what I had to point out to my wife. Um, Now, with Amazon Prime, you made just a tiny bit of money, just a tiny bit. When you figure out how much it costs to maintain a vehicle, plus gas and everything, and with Spark and Amazon and just all those companies, all right, all you're doing is you're running off of the, if your vehicle is, maintained for now, but over the long term, let's say you do that for 4 or 5 years, you're not making any money. You're literally losing money, because if you figure in having to pay a mechanic to fix anything on your vehicle or even pay for tires, you're losing your butt. So, yeah, I cannot, I totally disagree with that. I'm telling you, I've owned a trucking company. I know what it costs to run a truck. I've drove for Uber Eats. I've drove for Amazon Prime. I've actually done the Walmart Spark thing. You don't make any money doing that. You actually are losing money. Those companies are taking advantage of you. You would be better off going and working for $10 an hour, because when you figure in how much it costs to maintain a vehicle, you're losing your butt. That is not a job. That's not a job. That is a go out and provide a service for somebody. And if you make a tip, which is not that common to actually make a decent tip, and then you figure out how long you sit there and you wait to, pick up someone's stuff and then take it to them, you're not making any money. You're making enough money just to keep going. And the first time you have a major breakdown of that vehicle, well, you're screwed. And what is that company going to do? They're going to say, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should have maintained your vehicle. If you have a Tesla and you pay nothing for the electricity going into that vehicle, and let's say you can run a Tesla, a brand new Tesla car, for at least a year before you have to put anything into it, like tires or anything like that. Well, you're going to think that you're making money because you're making a regular paycheck. But are you really making money? Are you putting back enough money to buy a new one? Are you putting back enough money to pay a mechanic to work on it? Are you making enough money to put a new battery in it? I mean, and the same thing goes for a gasoline car. Are you making enough money to put a new engine or transmission in? Are you making enough money to even put tires on the car? All right, my wife's little Mazda 3 is a super, really good car on gas mileage. But we're running the tires off that thing. You would need 2 sets of tires per year, just running, say, an average of 150 miles a day for Amazon Prime. And how much did you make in a day? Okay, after you take out your $20 for gas every day, and let's say you did one load that paid you like $100, you take out that 20, what do you got left? What is that, 80? So you got $80 left. You got to take out another like 50 cents a mile for maintenance on the vehicle, oil changes and stuff like that. And then once you pay yourself, they're like, oh, you're making $20 an hour. No, you're not. You just spent 4 hours to make $100 plus the few hours that you sat in line waiting. You're not making anything. That is a terrible, terrible business plan. You're not making money doing that. I could go on and on about it. That actually, it kind of fires me up when people think you're making money doing the Amazon Prime or Spark or anything like that. You're not doing that great, especially around here. Now, if you're in a big city and things are really hopping and you're staying super busy with it, you might make a little bit, but I mean, it's a horrible business plan. I must be way behind. Cindy Brown said, I'm sorry, David, that really sucks. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you guys are talking about the dog. Because Joy Blessed Life said, so sorry for your loss, David. Well, I mean, it is hard for me. But what was really hard for me is to see, how sad my daughter was from it. Like my son, he could probably care less, right? My wife, she seemed to not really give a crap, but that was my daughter's dog, and that's what really wrenched my heart about it. To see, what she was going through over it and everything. I mean, it's a part of life. You're gonna have that happen. The sad thing for me is I've seen it over and over and over and over throughout my life, and that's one reason I try to refrain from having pets. Like the chickens, that's one thing, because if one of my chickens gets hit by a car out here in the road, it's like, well, that sucks. But, it wasn't a pet, right? A pet is like family. Okay. When you lose a pet, I mean, that you sit there, you pet them and have fun with them, all those good times and everything. I think that connection right there makes it even harder, to have to go through. Farm animals is a little different for me. I don't want to seem like I'm heartless or anything, but a farm animal is a farm animal. I see things for what they are. I'm very realistic about it. And yeah, it sucks to lose a farm animal, but, we know this happens. All we can do is give them the best life possible. Yeah, it sucked. Adam said, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. You know me and how I feel about dogs." Yeah. It definitely sucks. I mean, it sucked because I knew it was coming, and I knew there was nothing we could do. Like, if I was a millionaire, yeah, I would have took the dog to the vet and said, whatever it costs, do what you can for him. But I'm not a millionaire. I couldn't afford to take an animal to the vet and say, here, rack up a huge bill. Our other dog that we have, when she was just a pup, we went $2,000 or $3,000 in the hole over her and her sister. Her sister got hit by a car out here just a few short years later. And I mean, both of them had got really bad sick. We took them in, and it was, I think, around $3,000 or so that I ended up paying for that. It's really hard. I mean, if you can't do it, you can't do it. And I hate to even talk about it on here because I've seen like Jason Crocker, Jared Crocker, a lot of these other channels get so much hate because, I mean, people are, I mean, not just them. I've seen other people, like they lose an animal or something, and somebody comes on there and they're just hating on him, like, oh, you should have done this, or it's like, hey, look, be realistic. Don Lee said, that's the hardest goodbye. Yes, it is, for sure. Kim Nelligan, good morning. See, our fur babies are part of our family. It's a hard loss, for sure. Bass Bus. Oh, that reminds me, guys. Have you guys seen this shirt? The Mullet Man. That's a really cool shirt. But Oklahoma Adrenaline Life, that's who the Mullet Man is. Go over check out his channel, subscribe if you guys haven't already subscribed to him. I figured everyone on here was already subscribed to him, but it's been a while since I've gave him a shout out or said anything about his channel. The Mullet Man. Go check out his channel. If you guys enjoy hunting or fishing or trapping, outdoorsy type stuff like that, you will enjoy his channel. I forget how old he is. I think he's like 14, 15 years old or so. To see him, he reminds me of my oldest son. My oldest son's 18 right now, and this kid looks like he's like 18 already, but he's not 18. And he puts out some really cool content and everything. Go check out his channel. He's already well over 1,000 subscribers, but what he's working on right now is his watch hours. So if you guys, when you go to bed at night or something, if you go click on a playlist or something of his, I don't know if he has a playlist or not, but just, click on his channel and play a video all the way through and everything. Get him his watch hours. That would be super awesome. I think he's, I want to say he's like 39 hours. I forget what it is, but I want to say it's like 39 hours, watch hours away from, finally reaching that 4,000 watch hours per year, or I think it might actually be 28 days. I can't remember. But he's got to hit that like 4,000 before he's actually monetized. Bank fees. Yeah, bank fees are the biggest crock of bleep, as if the bank charges you for being broke. And it's free checking, a free checking account. There shouldn't have been no fees whatsoever on that. Otherwise, why wouldn't they be charging my normal account? I have another account that is my son's account that's attached to mine, and they haven't closed his out, and he leaves his account with a zero balance. Well, not a zero. He'll leave like $1 or $2 in there. He never overdrafts it because there's no overdraft protection on there. He can't overdraft it. So, they've never closed his out. But the other two accounts, I had $10. I think it was around about $10 in each one, and they just took it and closed them out. They'd done that to me once before, as if you can only have so many accounts with that bank or something. I don't know. They're weird. Okay, bonus for Cali. Our electric bill is like $150 on an expensive month. Now that just means you don't probably use very much electricity, and well, in the winter in California, they don't have like extreme winters. Like, when was the last time you seen like negative 10 degrees in California? It gets pretty cold here. It has really nothing to do with the state. It's more along the lines of like the insulation in the house sucks. The heating and air, system is messed up. Normally, when our heat pump was working properly, I think it had to get down to like 0 or something like that before the emergency heat strips started being used on that heater. Because I think heat pumps are only good for a certain temperature outside, and they're really not efficient anymore, so you got to use emergency heat strips. But when that outdoor unit went out, and when the well guy who came out to work on my well, whatever he did, when he did that, my electric bill went through the roof. And my well pump, what I found out, whatever he did, my well pump was not shutting off. It was running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and it still may be running all the time. I went in and adjusted the pressure switch because the well was not getting up to pressure and shutting off. It was just continuously running, and that right there also runs my electric bill up. So it's more of a maintenance type thing, is why the electric bill is through the roof here. I literally, back when I made tons of money with my company and everything, I told this guy to come out and replace my well pump, replace the pressure tank, replace all the plumbing, because I have terrible pressure in the house. And it's been that way ever since I bought the place. And I said, you know what, I've got the money, replace it all. And what did he do? The reason we had him come out was because it quit working. Well, he replaced the little box that's got a little capacitor in there that starts the pump up. He said that's what went bad. It cost me maybe $50. He, wrote me a bill for that, paid him or whatever. But the thing was, like, when I come home, my wife was the one that paid him. I come home and I'm like, okay, we still don't have water pressure worth a darn. What's going on? And she's like, oh, he only replaced that box. I was like, that's not what I told him to do. I called him up and his excuse was, I'm not in the business of taking people's money. I was like, what? No, you're in a business to do what I told you to do. I hired you to replace everything about the well, like a new pump. Even if you had to do new wires, I wanted new wires on there. Like, I wanted everything brand new. I wanted everything updated. Granted, you probably don't need to put new wires on, but he should have put another pump on there. He should have fixed things. He didn't do it. And it ends up costing me even more money over the long run because my well has been running 24 hours a day. That's the stuff that really gets under my skin. Like, yes, I would have paid, $2,500, I think is what the price was at the time. I would have paid $2,500, but I wouldn't be paying $1,000 a month for electric, Ozard life off grid. Oops, you misspelt that, Joy Blessed Life. Let's see. Watts are good. See what amps you're pulling in low light. I think it was, I want to say 1 point something amps. But like right now, well, let me look at it and I'll see how many amps it is. All right, right now in full sun it's 5.85 amps. But I didn't see how many watts. Right now we're probably, judging by how much sun we have, we got some overcast, some clouds. I want to say at the most it's probably 300 and something watts right now. The most I've seen it go up to was 415 watts. Crazy Ed said, Adam, I got another 100-watt solar panel set. He got another one of those, like the Harbor Freight setup that he already had. He got one of those. Now that he said something about it, I can say something about it. I know too much. Crazy Ed, are you going to do a live today and talk about the stuff you got going on there? Awesome Soft 753, good idea. That would make a good video, you explaining the process and price differences. Just a thought. The process and price differences on what? See, I'm not caught up with the chat, and that messes with stuff. Maybe, are you talking about the solar? Like how much it cost and all that? Cindy Brown said, yes, Ed, you do. Dawn Lee said, yeah, Ed, where you been? Awesome Sauce said, like a barge? Dawn was Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island. Don Knotts was Andy Griffith. Okay. See, that's what I was saying the other day was I get things like that. I get stuff so like mixed up in my head, like who played what on what show, names get all mixed up and everything. Let's see. Consider the movie Swamp Thing, then 242 acres of beaver ponds over swampland from ankle deep to 60-foot deep sinkholes. It's beautiful. Man, You got to do some beaver trapping or something. No man, no salt. I'm in foothills north of the Piedmont, south of the mountains, not a marsh. Okay. Oh, you're a 300 foot above sea level. Like a boy Homestead said, I'm sold, going to drive for Spark now. uh, yeah. You can make enough money to like pay your bills and stuff off of it, and that's what my wife realized. Okay, what really sucked about Amazon was we could make money right before Christmas. There was times where, we would get up there and let's say there was a thunderstorm rolling in. If they see one lightning bolt, they shut it down and you get paid for that load and you don't have to do nothing that day. So if it wasn't for that, we would have made really nothing. Okay. So there were some instances where we got ahead a little bit, and right before Christmas, things were great. I mean, you're just running your butt off every day, and we could sometimes do 2 loads a day, and that made sense. Okay, we could actually make money at that point, but everything, basically with me being there with her, that is what made it possible for her to get 2 loads in a day. And there was actually one day where we done three. All right, doing 3 loads in one day is just almost unheard of with Amazon because it takes you like 4 hours to do one load. But if there's two of you in the vehicle, you can be very, very efficient, and you can get 2 loads on a lot of days. Sometimes you can do three. It just really depends on where you're going, the road conditions, traffic, I mean, there's so many variables that come into play on doing something like that. But the thing is, like right after Christmas, it completely shuts off. I mean, completely, like they just turn the faucet off on you and you have no loads. So it's not a very good job to have. You lose money very quickly. I mean, you have to go have another job. But when you're doing Amazon Flex, you can't have another job because it literally takes you all day, or at least 3.5, 4 hours out of your day to do one load. All right. If you're doing it by yourself, I mean, let's say you're a soccer mom. Okay, you can make a few extra bucks. That is what that's for. Okay, so a soccer mom can be like, okay, I need an extra $60 this week to, help pay for gas to go on a trip with my kids for soccer practice or something, right? And so let's say a soccer mom, she don't like have a job necessarily. She's like stay at home and she can go spend 3.5, 4 hours of her day delivering packages before she has to go pick her kids up from school. And she can make a few extra bucks. All right. So not figuring in what it costs to maintain that vehicle because they're like, well, I got to maintain the vehicle anyway, right? It's going back and forth to soccer practice. So they're not figuring that in. What they're seeing is that extra $60 they can make in that day. And so they go do that. But as a actual, like when you want to sit down and figure it up as a business, it's horrible. It's just horrible. Like that's not a job to have. It doesn't pay you enough to do that consistently day in and day out. When I see people like, oh, they say go do Spark or go do this or go do that, those types of things, you're not making money. Okay, when I worked for Pizza Hut Express in Miami, Oklahoma, I was a pizza delivery driver. I made pizzas and stuff too, but primarily I was a pizza delivery driver. That was a job where I didn't make hardly any money whatsoever, but I was never broke. I always had money, right? As long as I went to work, I would go to work with a few gallons of gas in my Bronco, and I would make 1 or 2 deliveries, and I would, get a $5 tip here, $5 tip there. Usually I probably made, I don't know, maybe $100 a night in tips just because I was good. I was fast at delivery. I knew the town really well. I knew the best routes to get around town and get stuff delivered quickly. So I'd done pretty good. But when you actually know about business, it's a horrible, horrible plan. You're not making enough money to maintain that vehicle. My clutch went out in my Bronco. I literally changed the clutch out. I pulled the transmission and transfer case down out of my Bronco 2 by myself with no jack underneath there with this huge heavy transmission on top of me. Yes, I dropped it down on top of me, and it's a miracle I'm still alive, but I got it back in there. I changed the clutch out on a gravel parking lot with these sharp rocks sticking in my back and stuff, like literally getting up off the ground and having to pick rocks out of my back because of the transmission and the weight of it. Those are the kind of life experiences I've had where I just said, no, why would I do that? Why would I ever go back to delivering pizzas? There's no money in it. What top torch high paying jobs? I don't know what you're saying there, Steven. My friend doing Spark only drives a 10-mile radius. She lives in a city. The YouTubers doing these deliveries are trying to stay on their van life travels. You can make a few bucks. I'm not saying you can't make a few dollars, but when it comes down to it, the first time you have a transmission go out, you're broke down and you're without a job. You have no income, no savings. You're not making enough money off of that. And the other thing is, the only reason those companies are doing that is to limit their liability to getting their product delivered for them virtually for free. I mean, it's a great business plan for some place like Casey's or Walmart or whatever. They get to provide a service to their customers so their customers don't have to get out of their bed, out of their own house or anything, and they get stuff delivered to them. But at the same time, Walmart or Casey's or whoever is getting their pizza or their product delivered for virtually nothing, and they have no liability. So if a Spark driver goes out there and gets into a crash and it kills somebody, Walmart ain't liable. They have no liability. So it is a really good business plan on Walmart's behalf, or whatever company you're delivering for. It's really good for the like. You got to understand, if you're doing that, you're working for some really big corporation. You're taking on their liability. They have insurance that helps pay for that if you was to get into an accident, and they're not liable. Okay, it's 100% on you, and you also have to have your own insurance. And that's another thing, is your insurance policy could actually have a stipulation in there that says that if you are, in an accident while you are delivering for said company or something like that, if you're doing it as a business or a job or whatever, that you're not covered under their policy. So then your insurance is no liability, and then it would fall onto the excess liability of the company you're delivering for. They may cover a little bit, but how much are they covering? And at the same time, they may not cover any of it. And so you could actually end up in prison or owing millions and millions of dollars for something. You're not looking into this business as a actual business person. There's not even close to enough money. I can't stress that enough. It is a very stupid idea to do it. I'm just saying, from my experience in business, it's a horrible, horrible job. Don't do it. Just take my advice. Don't do it. You might make a few bucks here and there. You might make enough to pay for your van life travels or put gas in your vehicle. But eventually something will happen, and it is going to be very, very bad. Very bad. I mean, at the least, your engine blows up, or a bearing goes out and your wheel falls off, like, Crazy Ed's vehicle. I mean, those things happen, right? You have breakdowns. All mechanical things will break down, and it costs money to fix it. Me, personally, I can fix everything. I've always fixed all my vehicles. I don't pay mechanics to work on my stuff because, I am a mechanic. So I don't pay people to work on my stuff. But most people aren't me, okay? Most people have to pay a mechanic to work on their stuff, and that is extremely expensive. So just figure that in. For every mile that you drive a car, any car out there, not a pickup truck or anything like that. A pickup truck is going to be probably 75 cents a mile. A car typically is going to be 50 cents a mile to upkeep. All right. Are you actually, when you're working for those companies delivering that stuff, are you literally putting 50 cents a mile into a savings account? I'm going to say 99.99% of those people, no, they're not. They're not putting a dime back. They're taking 100% of that, putting it in their pocket, paying for bills or whatever it is, putting gas in their vehicle. They're literally not making any money. Yes, they have a little extra cash in their pocket to go do whatever, but they're, what do you call that? Where you're basically living off of the longevity of your vehicle. And as soon as something breaks down, well, you're out of a job. Okay. Simple as that. Yes, they're going to make a little bit of money. And yes, they're going to say, oh, I make good money. I'm making a paycheck. I'm making $400 a week or whatever it might be. But they're not business people, and they don't literally see what is going on until it's too late. And they're like, well, I'm broke down. I don't have a vehicle anymore. And if you're using your van, doing van life, holy crap, your van's going to be heavier than most vehicles. And so your gas bill is going to be considerably higher because you're hauling around your whole house with you while you're doing this. And then when that breaks down, your home is broke down, right? That is a recipe for disaster. I'm just saying. Nothing against you or anything, but yeah, I'm just saying it's not a good business plan. It is for those big companies that's getting their services delivered or whatever. They're providing a service to you at no cost to themselves. Joy Blessed Life dropped. Oklahoma Adrenaline Life's, ooh, dang, almost hit it. Almost blocked you. Heather Hopper said Preston needs 38 hours more. Sweet. Awesome. Like a Bully Homestead said, I am so close, only 2,500 watch hours to go. Adam, I thought you were monetized. Are you not monetized yet, Adam? You don't have the hours? Adam said he's got to run, has some errands to do. Fire department, take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for being in here, Adam. Happy Easter! Yes. Yeah, we need to get on a better foot here than me ranting. I guess what Crazy Ed said was all my lives are a rant. You got me. Thank you, Joy Blessed Life. You gave me content for my rant today. Let's see. Rebecca Davis said, I'll say bye to everybody. I got to go have a good Friday today. Crazy Ed said, no, David. Don't know what you're talking about, Ed. You're not going to do a live? I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. It's more accurate to say wear and tear versus maintenance. Yeah. Desiree Sampier said, sorry all, I have to scoot. Have a fabulous weekend. If we do not cross paths in YouTube, happy Easter, everyone. Bye. All right, we'll see you. Let's see. I've done that. It's a nightmare to accomplish. Transmissions don't fit and are stupid heavy. Yeah. They're really heavy when they have a transfer case attached to them. Because my Bronco was four-wheel drive and it had a transfer case on it. I'll tell you what, it's a good thing I was young and super strong. I mean, my arms back in the day used to be huge. And then I got into truck driving and I kind of went down in size. I started losing like muscle mass and everything. I used to be, kind of stocky, and then I just started getting fat from all the years in truck driving. But yeah, I've changed plenty of transmissions like that. I changed the transmission in my semi truck, but I didn't do that by hand. I actually had to have a transmission jack for that. Steve Carlson said, "What I'm asking as a question is, what are the top-notch, high-paying jobs that are worth working for?" Hood's Custom Shop. Um, well, I don't know. As far as things that I can do, I mean, I can weld, right? And you would think that welding would pay really good. Sadly enough, in the area where I work or live, um, they pay on average. Well, I know one place around here that pays probably 10.50 an hour right now for a decent welder. Um, and then, well, I gotta close this. Hang on, it's starting to rain. I don't want. Oh, I don't want it pouring in here. Hopefully, I don't have to close the side windows. Um, okay, for me, myself, and I, a top-notch, highest-paying job that I could probably get would be to go drive a semi-truck for Walmart. And that would pay me roughly 110,000 a year. Um, that's literally having to go out and work every day for them, have a couple days off a week or whatever, and basically do whatever it is they want me to do. You don't get to just work so many days a week or whatever. You have to work what they set forth, and you're not home every night. You're home most nights, I guess is how they would say it. I got to close these windows. It's coming in. Just a second. Dadgummit. Now watch. It'll stop raining. I'll close them and it'll stop raining. That's crazy. Just like a cloud burst. I wish I could make really good money welding around here, but to make $20 to $25 an hour welding around here in a shop, that's about the most you could make in that in this area. And that's having skills with like TIG welding, like actually being good. Otherwise, you're going to have to drive at least an hour from here to. There's a company up in Joplin called Modine. You can go up there and work for them. You might get up to closer to $30 an hour if you're a really good welder. You're really fast. Like they don't really care how good you are as long as you can just make it, seal up. They do like heat exchanger units for water fountains and air conditioning systems and things like that, like mini splits or whatever. It's basically what I heard from people who have worked there is you're not actually welding. You're literally like putting little bits of solder. You flux it, put solder on it. It goes through an oven or something, and it melts that. Like you're literally like not welding. And then there are some people who are TIG welders that make a little more money, who fix the leaks. I guess when one of those has a leak or something, you TIG it up and fix a leak or whatever. But that's like an hour and a half away drive every day, and I don't want to have to commute that far to go to work every day. As a matter of fact, I want to stay as far away from working in Joplin as I possibly can. Now, if I have to drive and go through Joplin, that's no big deal. If I'm driving like a company vehicle or something, I don't want to drive my personal vehicle that stinking far just to go to work every day. Yeah, they don't have the cost of owning their own fleet. Exactly. Once you own your own trucking company, you see everything in a different light. Like when you look at rates and everything, you know like what a company's making. You know what a driver could be making. When you see what a broker makes off of a load, we're talking strictly just trucking right now. When you see what a broker makes and how much money they make, it's crazy how much they make and how much they rip off owner operators. It's insane. Okay, let's just say CFI, a huge, I mean not huge, but a large company, a trucking company, right? At one point in time, they made per load. $8, okay, per load is what they made after all their overhead was paid. That was literally $8 million a day that they were making free and clear after all their bills were paid, all their employees were paid, the electric bills paid, the fuel bills paid, the maintenance and everything, which their maintenance bill is insane. What they do to their trucks, they maintain their trucks at a very high quality. I don't know of very many companies that put that much into maintaining their equipment. But when you look at it, okay, like an owner operator, he makes thousands of dollars per load, right? But then you have a company like CFI who makes $8 a load. But that's literally at one point, they shared this information with everybody, was $8 million a day in one certain year. That's a lot of money. Like, when you make that kind of money, like, what do you do with it? What do you do with that? You buy other businesses, right? I mean, I guess that's what they did. I don't know. Crazy. It's crazy that a company like that could make that much money, and then, I'm not saying they did, but there's companies that have made that kind of money and then turn around and file bankruptcy. Yeah, business things, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if they think about the wear and tear, putting money aside. I mean, 99% of people don't, because they don't have that business experience. They don't treat it like an actual business. They're just a sole proprietorship, and they get all the money. They don't actually give themselves a paycheck. All right, they don't do the actual paperwork and say, okay, this percentage, goes to the driver, whatever. So I mean, if they sat down and said, okay, 25% goes to the driver, 60% goes to the vehicle maintenance and fuel and blah blah blah. If they sat down and done that and looked at the math and said, holy crap, I'm not making any money, there's not enough buffer in there, they wouldn't be doing it anymore if they did that. But like in my case, where, okay, I was doing YouTube, and I really want to drive YouTube, and I want to do everything I can to build my YouTube and everything, because I'm like, well, at some point I could be making enough money with my YouTube content and everything to an extent that it would pay me enough to just keep doing it, instead of me just investing into it, that's all it's been. Even though I get monetized and I make a little bit off of that, I'm not making any money. I'm literally pouring 100% of that, well, actually about 500% of that, into what I'm doing, and in hopes of one day that I could actually make money doing it. And right now I'm just like, it's not realistic for me. It's not. I mean, some people, they catch a few breaks or whatever, they're real popular and they do really well. That's not everybody. That's not going to happen for everybody. And what's really scary is I see people who will quit their job, and they're like, oh, my channel's blowing up, it's doing really good. And next thing you know, they want to like quit their job and everything, and they don't realize that YouTube doesn't always pay very good at all. It's up and down. It doesn't always pay exuberant amount of money. It's never paid me enough to consider it an actual income, like a job. I might make, I have made $200 in a month before, okay, and it ain't like that anymore. All right, I've lost some income on YouTube, and so it basically barely pays for my phone. Okay, it pays for my YouTube Premium, which is that 10, 11, $12 or whatever a month. So I don't have to watch ads. Like, ads just simply don't show up on my phone when I watch, unless I watch with one of my other channels. I've got several other channels, and I do use those sometimes to go watch people's content, and I watch through the ads. I don't know how that YouTube Premium affects the pay for YouTubers. I know on mine, I see how much I made off of premium members, which is like $9 or $10 a month, maybe, which is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, ain't very much. But yeah, I see people jump into it with this expectation that they're going to make money off of doing YouTube videos, and some people do. But I mean, if I had some chick in tights out here running my sawmill, my channel would probably go through the roof, right? We all know this. Everybody knows this. It's a simple fact. Um, if you don't have some chick on your YouTube videos, well, you're going to have a hard time growing. And, I've got 13 years of trying to grow my channel. Does that mean that, I want to, go hire some model to come out and be on my channel just so my channel does good? No, because that's not what my channel is about. I'm trying to help people out with the knowledge and stuff that I can share with people on my channel. That's what I originally started YouTube for. I didn't originally start YouTube going, oh, I'm going to make money off YouTube. This is going to be my full-time job. It wasn't until like in the last 2 or 3 years that I said, wow, I could possibly actually get monetized and maybe start to make a little bit back from everything I've put into this. And the amount of money I've put into YouTube is astronomical. The losses that I file every year on my taxes, like how much I've put into it, is a lot of money. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go back to work, and which also means I'll be able to put a little more into it. David, the Dodge I was given comes with a second engine and a brand new transmission and some other part. I may just sell it all. Huh. Why not put it together and get it legal? There's TJ. So what's up, Dave? What's up, Butta? I can't even talk today, Butta. What's up, brother? I'm trying to read stuff while I'm talking, and it's not working out too good. I want to find small awnings for our RV windows during light rains. I've actually considered putting maybe some PVC pipe, cut in half along the side of the bus to where it would act kind of like an awning. Excuse me. But at the same time, it would act as my rain catchment on the bus. You can't have it like stick out real far from the bus. So I'm thinking maybe a 2 or 3 inch PVC pipe with a slot cut out of it. And it would just basically go alongside the bus. You wouldn't really notice it. It could be painted basically the same color as the bus or blend in where you wouldn't really notice it. But I'll, be able to have rain catchment on the side of the bus. That would be really cool. Joy Blessed Life said, I'm looking forward to having YouTube actually paying for my YouTube expenses. Thankfully, I'm growing though. Yeah. I mean, you guys, you drive that RV around. Your channel would have to actually be a pretty big channel for it to even pay for the fuel every month that you put into your RV. It takes a lot. I'm saying it takes a lot to actually make really, to even get to the point where you're actually making money off of YouTube. You got to be a pretty good sized channel. YouTubers get paid a percentage on ads for premium. Maybe. I don't know that it's really a percentage. They get for the premium stuff, they get a very, very small amount. I mean, yeah, even though you're not watching their ads, you still get paid. Now, the ads is not like a set amount that they make. That is actually auctioned off. And so it changes drastically. Like right before Christmas, you'll see a lot of YouTubers right before Christmas, they'll be putting video, like just pounding the videos out. And you have to, because that is the best time to be putting your videos out, because the ads are paying well at that time. I mean, there's a lot of business stuff to it. on doing YouTube. I'm trying to make money and everything. Right before Christmas, you're going to see that is when the money is good on the ads, and so you're going to see YouTubers pounding out the videos. But at the same time, you have to get those videos out there, and you got to have good content to get the subscribers, to get those views, because you're not going to get the views if you don't have them. All right, and people come and go. So it's a struggle to try to get people to watch your stuff and put good content out. If you're just putting videos out to be putting videos out, your channel's going to suffer. So it's a lot of hard work. Is it worth it? Maybe. I mean, if you do it just because you love it, then it is worth it. If you're doing YouTube just for the money, well, you might as well just go do something different, unless you got looks on your side. There are some channels out there that literally do not even pretty much the same thing I do. All right. And just because they got some cute girls on there, they've got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of subscribers and people that just apparently there's a lot of perverts out there, and that's what grows their channel. I mean, and they're banking on that they know there's literally millions of perverts out there that's going to watch their content, and that's what it comes down to. It comes down to a simple thing that I heard many times is sex sells. All right, and if you're sexy or if you're good looking or whatever, then people are going to watch your stuff. If you don't, I mean, I've talked about this with a lot of other YouTubers, and they're like, I've noticed that people with certain looks get the views, certain other people. And what's really, really sad is the racism part of it. The color of someone's skin could actually, be a difference between whether or not they get very many views or not. And it's very real. It is there. I cannot deny it. I see it. I see, people of different races and stuff, their channels, like they put astronomically awesome content out there, but they don't do well in the YouTube world because of the color of their skin. I see it all the time. We cannot deny that is not a thing. It's there. It's very real, and it sucks. The rain catchment on the bus is really cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. Is the lid of the cooler insulated or just hollow like most of them? Yeah, it's insulated. It's got like foam inside of it. Yeah, they have foam inside them. I think the Igloo and that other brand, Coleman. The Coleman one I had wasn't quite as good. It was a little flimsier. This one here is a lot more solid. The only problem I've had with this one, I mean, I've had this thing at least 10 years. And the only problem I've had with it is I've had to replace the motor in it several times, which you got to do that with all of them. It's just a little electric fan motor. And they sell them at pretty much every truck stop out there, like any Flying J or Pilot. They're going to have the fan motors for them, and even like replacement fans, the little fans. But the only real problem I've had is the handles broke off, which it's not a big deal. I mean, that thing got tossed around in my semi-truck for years. We are based here in the Smokies. We only drive RV on occasion or occasional trips. Donnie work camps here at the campground. We drive my Volkswagen Bug, which gets 40 miles per gallon to vlog, thankfully. Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's one thing I don't, like, fully have a grasp on is all these van life and bus lifers out there that, they make money, not just with YouTube, but other things on the internet. If you are, what do you call it? Like if you're good at things like that, then you can make money doing that, like the vlogging and copywriting and stuff like that. Yeah, you can make money doing that. But that takes a special, like a certain kind of person, which is not me. Yeah. I mean, one aspect of my YouTube channel is this channel also kind of, it's my sort of free publicity for my woodworking and stuff like that. What I would love to be doing in the future is at some point, you know, and if I, let's say if I was to go to work for Walmart and drive a truck for Walmart and make, you know, 90 to 100 or $110,000 a year, I would be taking a huge portion of that income and putting that into buying a property, building a big shop, and just, you know, building a business that would basically be my investment into my retirement. My idea is to build a business that can basically run itself, you know, hire employees who run that business. That would involve sawmilling, you know, paying local loggers, not big time loggers. I'm talking about the little guy, putting the little guy in business to where this little guy is like a guy with a 1 ton truck and a trailer, maybe a tractor or something, and he goes and gets me some really nice logs, not going out there clear cutting, but doing select cut where they go and they get, like, let's say a tree's being taken down in a yard somewhere. They go get that, they bring that to me, I pay them a good amount for it, and then I make those special, really cool woodworking projects and stuff. But I've got to build up to that. I've got a ton, like literally millions of dollars that have to be invested in getting the equipment and everything to really make that feasible to do it as a business. Okay, I need a an actual kiln to where I can take a log and go from a log to a finished product in basically 6 months or less. Okay, that is a huge amount of time, but all this stuff, like this table that you guys, the camera's sitting on right now, this right here literally took me years to make. I think that is lost in my videos. Like, people don't really grasp that, like how long it took for me to, you know, I cut this down a couple years ago. Okay, and it's been drying ever since. It's been inside my kiln for years. Okay, that took years just to get the shipping container. That cost a lot of money. That took me years to build up to that. Like, that's what I try to put out there is what, where I'm at today has taken me a very long time. This has been my vision for many, many years, is to have my own sawmill and build my own business out of this. And, you know, some people say, well, how come you don't put any money into 401k, or how come you're not putting money into a Roth IRA? Why are you not investing into your retirement? I'm sorry, but yes, I am. You can literally see my investment. You can literally see everything that I'm investing in my retirement. Uh, Building a bus so I have a home that I no longer, you know, basically I have a house here that I'm paying for, that if I pay it out over time, I basically got 25 years or so left to pay on this. That's over 300,000. I don't intend on keeping this house for that long. It's an investment, and I will sell it eventually and hopefully make, you know, my money back on it, right? So that is an investment that, you know, I'm hoping to get a little bit off of that eventually and be able to use that money to buy a property and build a big shop and have this company. But the main goal for that company, what I expect from that company, is to make really cool woodworking projects, hire some people who can truly love their job, that people are going to want to come to work every day. Like, they're going to be wanting to, like, oh, I can't wait to go to work, because, you know, to give them freedom of expression in building, you know, woodworking projects, tables and stuff. And yes, the intent is to, you know, also be doing YouTube and everything. That is kind of a PR deal, you know, putting it out there in front of people, building a brand. I mean, some people could sit there and deny it and say that that's not what they're doing, but hey, I'm just being transparent here. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build my brand and eventually put people to work where they can have a job, where they don't feel like the life is being sucked out of them every day, that they got to go to work for 8 to 14 hours or whatever they want to work. You know, what could be better than to create a business where people want to come to work literally every day because they absolutely love what they're doing. I've worked many jobs where I just dreaded. I was like, what the heck am I doing with my life? This sucks. And right now, can I find a job where I can do that, where I would truly love going to work every day? I mean, truck driving ain't that bad. All right. I can go out there and I get to see the country and everything. And I've worked in a machine shop, I've worked factory jobs, I've done forklift driving and stuff before. Those jobs just suck the life out of me. And there's a lot of people who are complacent and they can just do that and it's not a big deal. Well, great for them, but I can't do it. I can't stand the thought of going and working in a place where I can't even see outside. I mean, right now, I'm sitting here in the bus and I'm looking right out the window, watching my chickens over here, looking at a log pile and everything. I can see the wind moving the tree limbs and whatnot. That's enjoyable. I like that. And here in a little bit, I can do some woodworking. I mean, actually, what I have planned for today is to start framing out the walls that's going to go right over here around the fender well where my composting toilet's going to go. And I got to get the composting toilet thing built. Yesterday, I worked on the wiring a little bit. I got the little 12-volt fan for the composting toilet wired in. All I have to do is plug a fuse into it, and it will start running. I got a lot of stuff to do, um, but back to the business thing. That is my retirement plan. That I won't necessarily have to come in and work a 9 to 5 job like every day. Basically, get this business off the ground to where it runs itself, to where whether I'm here on this earth or not, that business can continue on and continue to go. And maybe, I can pass it down to one of my kids or something if they want to, you know, take on the reins or something. But I want to create a business that will create jobs for people to where they can truly love what they do every day and it be something that, runs itself. And then when I get up into my retirement age, it can help, pay for all my expenses and stuff that's going to come down the road. So basically, what I've done is like what Mike Rowe talks about. I've watched a lot of Dirty Jobs and watched Mike Rowe and stuff, uh, which is probably why my Dave rants really come off as like Mike Rowe. I used my Mike Rowe voice, right? Uh, and some people's like, oh, that reminded me of Mike Rowe. It's like, well, that's what that was intended to do, was kind of mimic him. Not that I want to build my channel off that or anything, but like what some things that he talks about and everything is one thing he noticed about those multimillionaires. And that was the thing, was like most of those people he worked with on Dirty Jobs, most of those people, you would never know it, but they were very wealthy people. They were very successful people. And you would never know it. They dressed like anybody else, right? But they were very successful. And the reason that, like what he has gathered, the reason they're successful is a lot to do with their personality, them taking initiative. But one thing he noticed was that they, at probably an early age, they looked at the direction that everybody else was going, right? They're like, these people are doing this, these people are doing this. And what they did was they said, okay, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to do this and, take my passion with me. Instead of following your passion, just take your passion with you and do something that like nobody else wants to do. And like the adage that you may have heard, if you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. It is, and there's my brain fart again. Just a second. Real life. Dadgummit. I hate it when that happens. I'm on a roll and then I just, squirrel. Yeah, it's not coming back to me either. TJ said I was way back at the beginning of the video. Whoops. Man, yeah. Brain fart. All right. So, like what Micro was saying, these people look at the direction that most everyone else is going. Okay, what I looked at was most everybody else is investing in 401k, Roth IRA, all these different retirement things that they're investing in. And what I've seen throughout history is things that, you put money into something, and I've time and time again, I've seen when things got bad, the super rich would say, well, we got this over here. We got this money that the entire country as a whole pretty much has, put money into 401k or whatnot. And next thing and they're not supposed to be able to tap into it, right? And they tap into it. They find a way. The government has been trying to figure out a way to start taxing or tapping into people's 401k because they see this big old piggy bank sitting over here. It's somebody else's freaking piggy bank, but that government can do whatever they want. Eventually, they're going to tap into it just like they did with Social Security. That's what I see. So when I see everybody like doing this over here, I said, well, how can I invest in my retirement, but a different way, in things that are actually tangible, things that really make a difference? And so I have an idea of building a business, of just doing really great things. And sure, there's lots of furniture companies out there, and you guys have been to like Ashley Furniture, or, just off the top of my head, Westco and stuff. Um, and you kind of see the stuff that they put out there. It's like, particle board and made out of steel. I mean, I'm not against putting steel into a project as long as it's got a bit of art to it. um, I want to create very unique things. I want to hire people who are extremely creative and just love what they're doing. All right, so I've had this vision of creating a business where people can truly love what they do every day and actually, look forward to coming to work the next day. How many of you, I'm going to say 130% of every one of you have went out there and you've worked a job to where every day you're just like, oh crap, it's Monday, or oh crap, it's hump day, it's Wednesday. I got to go to work. I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, every stinking morning, go to work. And maybe you have that person at work that you're just like, oh crap, I got to deal with so and so's BS today. That's one thing I absolutely love about YouTube. I'm literally here like by myself every day. All right. I just got to put up with myself in my own head, right? Which is great because I get to tell myself to shut up. Not that I'm crazy like that or anything. I don't literally sit here and talk to myself. I kind of feel like I am right now staring at a camera, but I realize that there's real people on the other side of this, that I'm talking to real people. A lot of you I've actually met in person in real life. So that is one thing. And I really hope I get to go to Shoot Dang Fest. I just don't see it happening, guys. I really don't. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it. I'm hoping that I can, but I just don't know. That's one thing I love about YouTube, is being able to go to these meetups and actually get to see and meet you guys, put a face with the name. That's what really makes YouTube so real. And that's why I really want to go to Shoot Dang Fest. I'm not going there with merch and all this other stuff. I mean, I might take my my red cedar cutting boards that I already have made up. I've got a box of those. If I can go, if somehow, some way the money comes in and I'm able to go, then I'll probably take those, and I ain't going to be selling them. I'm going to be giving them away. It won't be for sale. So it'll be kind of a first come, first serve. I'm not going to be selling them. I'll just be giving them away. So you guys have something that has my logo on it. I made those things for the last meetup we did. So it's been over a year, I guess. And they're just sitting in a box in my garage out there. And I mean, I would rather somebody get some enjoyment out of it, whether you use it to, as a cheese cutting board or whatever. The thing is, I would love to give them away and do giveaways here on my channel all the time. It costs me a bunch of money every time to ship those out, and I can't afford to do it right now. Um, but I don't know. I'm just really hopeful that things come together. I had a all right. I know I'll probably get some crap about this. And there's only 26 people in here right now. Um, but yeah, I was offered a job. It was just a single haul, right? But it was actually for my ex boss's son, which may have actually been to do work for my ex boss. Basically, my ex boss's son calls me up and says, "Hey, can you haul a load of pigs up to North Dakota?" And he's like, "It pays $500." And I was like, "Man, I would love to make $500 in basically 2 days. That'd be great. But honestly, no, I can't do it because of who it was that was calling me." Um, Stuff like that. I mean, had it been somebody else call me, yeah, I would have done it. And no, I don't want to do live haul. And that was my excuse to him. But in all honesty, I didn't take that because of who it was that was calling me about it. I basically blacklisted him. I'm like, I am not working for those guys. And what he told me was, "Oh, I've got a buddy, his driver, his daughter or whatever is going in the hospital, and so he can't haul this load. Can you cover it?" And I've been lied to too many times by those guys, and so I just said, "Nope, can't do it." Number one, I'm not a rancher. I don't. Okay, I have a little experience with handling livestock, right? And because I've been forced into that by my last employer that I had to quit. And that's what he was trying to do when he was putting his son up there working, doing my job that I was hired to do, and was trying to force me into doing the ranch stuff, the farm stuff, which I don't enjoy doing. I don't like being in a sorting pen with a bunch of cattle that could actually crush me and kill me. And, I have very little experience in that. Now I've got a lot more because I was forced into doing it. It's kind of a scary thing to be in a freaking sorting pen and you got a sorting stick and that's it. And your wits and your own ability to jump over a pipe corral fence is the only thing that might save your life. And when you're 44 years old or so, and you're getting a little older, you've been a truck driver for many years, and your confidence in how quickly you can jump over that 7-foot tall pipe corral fence is dwindling a little bit. You start to kind of be a little concerned for your own well-being, right? But the thing was, like, and I said to him, I said, "No, I'm not a live haul guy. You call someone else to do that." And he's like, "For baby pigs?" And I'm like, "See ya." Hung up on him. That conversation was over before it even started. He should have known better than to call me because of the things they've done and like the interaction between me and his dad, how his dad done me. And it's like, look, I'm sorry, dude. We can be friends and everything, but I'm not getting burnt a third time. I'm just not doing it. So, yeah, a lot of people would say, "Man, I would have took that $500 to haul some baby pigs up to North Dakota." Guys, I don't really know the first thing about hauling baby pigs. All right, it could be really cold up there right now, and so let's say I take a job hauling baby pigs up to North Dakota, and it's freezing cold up there right now. Like down here, it's good weather, right? So if I haul them up there, and let's say if I didn't know what temperature to board up the trailer to close up the holes or how many holes to close up. I mean, you got to know all these sorts of things to do live haul. And I don't really know all this stuff. I know that I don't know. Okay. That's probably the good thing. I know that I don't know. And so if I was to lose so many, X number of these hogs or whatever on delivering them up there, I could literally end up being charged by this guy for the death of animals, right? So it could actually cost me money to do that. And so at least I know that I don't know, and I know better than to do something like that. I've actually seen it happen to some younger drivers before where they go and drive for somebody and then and they don't have an agreement in place, so they get held accountable for stuff like that because there's a loss. And the guy who owns the truck is just like, you should have known. I'm just not dealing with that. I hope I don't catch a bunch of flack for it. People being like, oh, you could have made $500 in 2 days. Why didn't you go do it? Would like to see you go drive for them for a while. Would get you into a way better position. Yeah, I've definitely been considering it. Um, if I was going to drive for a company, there's two companies that I would consider right now. Number one is Certified Express Incorporated, CEI. That's just a really great company. Would I make as much if I went to Walmart though? No, I wouldn't. I would have more free time most likely, uh, but it's a really great company, and I think part of the reason that company is so great. I mean, he's just a really good guy. The owner of the company is, and he actually was the youngest, I think, general manager at Walmart at one time before he started up his company at CEI. Uh, so he worked for Walmart for a good bit, and then he decided to do what he's doing now. So super awesome guy. But yeah, Walmart would be the other company that I would consider working for just because of the structure of it. But now, as far as Spark, no, I'm not doing Spark. I had Joy Bless Life said, you could do Spark or whatever. Nah, I'd rather go drive Walmart's truck, and they can have that liability. Um, let's see. People like Blacktail Studios go and buy their slabs and pay thousands for a slab because of all that work that goes into getting it ready to work with. Yeah. Yeah, they're like literally, I had people comment and say, because I was suggesting that when I sold this table, I was planning on building this into a table and selling it. And I was like, I could probably get, 3,500 to 4,000 around about there for the table. And, I made that, the walnut bench for the meetup, right? And it went in auction, I think, for 500, if I remember right. Um, and you know, it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, number one, I didn't want to take that back home. And so I talked with Jacob, and I was like, I don't want to take this thing back home. Can you think we could auction it? And he's like, I don't know, maybe somebody here could auction it. I said, well, could you ask your pastor? And so he went and asked his pastor, and his pastor, it turned out his pastor was actually, uh, no one really knew this, but he was actually a auctioneer or been practicing at her. So I don't know. He'd done a really good job. And so they ended up auctioning it off, and it went for $500. And, the way I look at that is, God set that price. And so it's fair. Uh, and I wasn't taking any of that money anyway. It all went to the church. So, it's the perfect price. But in the market where you're trying to sell that or something, just the the price of those slabs was over $500. If I was to buy those slabs of black walnut to build that bench, I would have ended up spending more than 500 just for the raw slabs. Okay, that's literally what they sell for. If I was to buy this tabletop right here, it's dried, it's planed, it's got epoxy in all the little nooks and crannies and stuff to make it smooth. Just to make a top like this, get it to where it is right now, before actually building a table out of it, I could probably make $300 to $500 off of this slab right here. Okay, that's what it would sell for, just as a slab that has been planed down. It's a uniform thickness. It's dry. It's sanded down. All right, it just needs a finish or whatever put on it. $300 to $500 to have it at that point right there. Um, yeah. So I mean, there was a lot more work that went into that than what it sold for. Joy Blessed Life said it. Terrence said, I noticed YouTube must have changed the platform to start folks at the beginning of the lives, so we comment way behind. Every time I hop into a live, it's live. I don't know. I've not noticed that it would put me at the beginning if I come in late. Like last night, Ridge Life was doing his live with Come On Homestead, and I jumped in there literally like right towards the very end of it. And I was, when I jumped in, I was at the end of it. It didn't start me at the beginning. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Got to restart the brain with a sip of coffee. That's how far behind I am in the chat. Dadgum. Full blown country. Good morning. Said same. My career has been in healthcare, hospital facility management, 22 years. I am burnt out and looking for a way out. I have a side hustle that I am building to for when I call it quits. There you go. That's it right there. Everybody needs a side hustle, okay? And at some point, when you stick with your side hustle and you keep with it and keep with it. I mean, this right here is basically my side hustle, and I've tried to make it my only hustle, right? Unfortunately, sometimes we fail, and that is what this is. I have failed. I haven't completely failed, right? And I'm not giving up. So it's not a complete failure, but I haven't met that mark that I really set out to hit. Now I've come a long freaking way. You got to admit that. But sometimes we have to take a step back and reevaluate. And yes, I'm going to have to go out and get a job, and that happens a lot of times. If you're afraid to fail, though, then you failed right there. That is true failure, is when you're afraid to fail. Sometimes you got to step out there, way out of your comfort zone, and take that risk in order to make it. I wouldn't be this far had I not done that. When Jared Crocker quit his job, crazy enough, I had actually quit my job that same day. And there was a lot of reasons behind why I quit my job, which I'm not going to get into because that's a whole nother rant that I've discussed in other lives. But you got to get out there. You got to have that side hustle. Do what it is that you love to do and follow your dreams, whether that means that you're still working this job just to pay your bills and whatnot. And that's one reason I'm building the bus, is so that I can actually lower my cost of living like exponentially to the point of virtually zero. All right, guys, I've been making less than $200 a month for a very long time right now. Okay. And that basically pays my phone bill and a few other things. And I still continue putting content out there for y'all, and just doing what I can to try and keep doing what I love doing. If I didn't love what I'm doing right now, I wouldn't be doing it. I would be out there driving a truck for my buddy, making a ton of money. I mean, $110,000 a year working for Walmart ain't nothing compared to if I was working for my buddy, hauling crude oil out there. I would be making a lot more working for him. But I wouldn't just be driving a truck. I would be handling a lot of the day-to-day stuff with running his business. Or he could do certain things, I can do certain things, and build his business. And he offered me a good chunk of money to be able, if I was to come out there and help him. But at what expense? I mean, basically, I would be out there in the same boat that I was in before I ended up, really starting to get back in or doing YouTube, and just dreading every day. I don't want to do that, so I'm reevaluating. Like, I'm not just going out to get a job. I want a job that is not, sucking the life out of me. And so that's why, a lot of people have said, oh, you could work for FedEx, or you could do this, or you do that. Those are the type of jobs that I'm not willing to do. But to go work for Walmart, I could do that. it's the way they're set up. You know, a lot of companies that I've worked for has been like owner operator type companies where, you know, I've had to go in and do the maintenance. I've had to change motors out. I've had to replace rear ends. It's not just driving the truck. I've done every aspect from dealing with the brokers on how much we get paid for a load, uh, you know, dealing with drivers, putting them, you know, saying, okay, here, this is your load. This is where you need to go. You need to be there at this time. Here's your pickup number, blah, 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 blah. Dealing with all those little details when I can just go to work for Walmart, inspect my truck, get in it, drive it safely from point A to point B, make those deliveries, be friendly with the people at each stop or whatever, being courteous to people on the road. That's all I got to do. I can do that. That's super easy. I don't have all of the other peripheral stuff going on that literally sucks the fun out of trucking. You know, just being able to get in a truck, not having to worry if that motor blows up in that truck or something breaks down on it. I just call the company, they send a tow truck out, they hook it up, and you know, they probably bring another truck to me. I hop in it and I go about my day. I could do that. That would be super easy for me. I'm used to driving for companies where I've got to like handle everything, and that's high stress, and I don't want it. That just it sucks the life out of a person. Crazy Ed said that's old age, David. I oh the I guess you're talking about me being in the pen, in a sorting pen, sorting cattle, and I'll tell you what, I didn't know the first thing about sorting cattle until I found myself in a pen with like 800 to 1,000 pound cows and calves, and you're sorting like, okay, he says I want to work the cat or the calves first, get them run through, and calves are a little rambunctious. I mean, and they're bigger than me. All right, granted they're just calves, but they're bigger than I. And if one of them run into me, I'm probably going to break some bones, right? Um, that's a little scary. And you've got a whole bunch of cows in there, no bulls or anything. You got cows and you got calves in there, and you're having to sort them and only let so many through to put into the squeeze chute at a time. I'd never done that before. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember with my step grandpa, we would go out to the farm and we would round them up, get them into a big pen, but it wasn't like a high pressure, like, oh, we got to get this done in a certain amount of time. Working with this guy, it had to be done like in, like, you know, it had to be done now. And so there was pressure. You're putting pressure on the cattle, and that creates an environment that's not really safe. And the cattle that he buys, he doesn't keep them very long, and they're typically not very nice. They're not like the cows you can go up to and pet. Uh, it's no fun. And that's what I found myself doing that one day. And I'm like, what am I doing? I was hired to be a truck driver for this guy. And granted, I've worked for him for many years, doing different things, working for his paint company, working for the rail spur, you know, being the manager of that, worked for his trucking company, basically did everything for a little bit before he hired someone in the office to do kind of the office work and everything. Because at one point I just told him, I said, I can't do it all. I cannot do everything. It is just, it's too much. You know, you're out there, you're driving a truck, and you're dealing with the brokers, and you're dealing with another driver, getting them loads and dealing with their stuff when they call in or whatever. It's just too much. And finally I had to tell him, I said, it's no, you need to hire someone to take care of the paperwork and do all this other BS, because I'm not doing it all. And the guy's made tons of money off of me, and that's why he wants to hire me back, even though I quit. And I'm just like, how many times you got to tell somebody no before they finally figure out they need to find somebody else? But definitely, you know, go out there, have a side hustle. If you don't have a side hustle, I don't know what you're going to do. But you always got to have a side hustle. Have those goals and dreams that you're trying to work towards. I know my brother, where he works at, you know, he would love to have like a retirement job or something, like something that he can truly enjoy doing. I mean, like what he does now is just work. it's a job. It's something you just go and you do every day. You make good money doing it or whatever. And I know eventually he would love to have a job where it's something that he could love doing. And I'm hoping that my hopes and dreams align with his hopes and dreams, and maybe I can move over there closer to him, and maybe you know take this business that I'm investing into and combine that together where it's something that we both can enjoy and do. And I think that would be just the ultimate. That'd be just super awesome. But I want to make sure that I don't go into it just like jump into it all of a sudden and actually fail. I want to kind of gradually move into this to where it's something that won't fail. Can you ever really fail? Like fail? I mean, sure, if you're not careful, you could fail. But if you have the dream or the drive to do something, you never really can fail. No matter how much you have to put into it, you can make it happen. Uh, but I think finding someone else who wants it as bad as you is very key to like creating a partnership on something like that. And I honestly think my brother would want something like that at least as bad as I do, maybe even more. Uh, so I think that'd be super awesome. And my brother has the skills that I don't have, and that is a perfect deal right there. Joy Bless Life said, "I understand you having trust issues with those former employers." Well, with that one, that one, yeah, full blown country. That $500 would wind up costing you for loss. That's what I'm thinking. I just I've dealt with them too many times, and I'm pretty sure that it could have been he may not have been fibbing to me. It could have been for a buddy of his, but I mean he knows everybody, right? So who knows who it was for? I'm just not a live haul driver. I'm not the kind of person who wants to go haul cattle. If I wanted to go haul cattle, I can go do that for a buddy of mine. That's relation to me by marriage. I could go drive for him, but that's not me. I'm not a cow hauler. Yeah, I'm more of like I can do hazmat and tanker, reefer, food grade tanker. I've hauled pretty much everything, and yes, I've hauled cattle. I've done that stuff for them before. I know what it entails, and I'm not doing it. Uh, $500 sounds good, but you're talking like at least 2 days to go up to North Dakota, and then what? It's not just go up to North Dakota and come straight back. You got to understand that too. Like you're not going to hop in someone's truck and be like, "Oh, I'm just delivering this load and I'm coming back empty." No, you got to go somewhere else and you got to load more and go somewhere else. Like you're starting a route and you're gonna end up working for this guy for a while. It's not just a 1 day, 2 day deal and come right back. No, this guy is literally, the reason he's even thinking about putting someone in his truck that he doesn't know is because he's trying to make a truck payment, most likely. If his truck was paid for and his driver calls and says, "Hey, my daughter's having surgery on this date, I can't drive for you on those dates," or whatever. If that truck was paid for, he's going to let that truck sit for a few days until that driver is able to come back and hop back in the seat and go make him some more money. So this guy is obviously needing to make money because he has a truck payment or trailer payment or insurance payments and all that stuff, all this overhead, and he's probably struggling. I don't want no part of that. I guess I just know too much and I can read into everything. But if I was to go work for Walmart, it's Walmart. People just don't understand the value of premium wood. They walk around with uh, pine prices in their head. Yeah. I mean, if I was to buy pine, what is pine selling for right now? Maybe 29 cents a board foot for a log. White oak for a log. If I was to take a log from here, which I can't sell these, they're mostly all spalted now. So they're, I mean, if they was to buy it, they're not going to give me much for it. But if I was to go cut down a white oak tree that's, let's say 24-inch diameter, decent little size, and it doesn't have any limbs on it or anything, maybe one limb, so we'll call it three-side clear. They're going to give me at least $1 a board foot on the log. Okay. If I was to price that lumber to somebody for $1 a board foot, they would still tell me that I'm charging too much because they only see like the pine prices at the store, right? They don't see they're not going in looking at the hardwood prices. If they went and looked at the hardwood prices, go look at a red oak, which red oak around here, I can't even sell a red oak to the mill. They won't buy it. But if you was to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you look at a 1x6 by 8 foot, you're probably going to spend 30-40 bucks at least for it. Haven't looked at the prices in a while. Last time I looked at them, I think it was like $44 for a 1x6 by 8 foot, which is actually only 3/4 of an inch thick. It's not one. They call it 1x6, so it's actually going to be 3/4 inch thick and 5.5 inches wide, and it might be exactly precisely 96 inches long. So you're kind of getting ripped off there too. If someone wanted to get into woodworking and they wanted to come in and buy a lot of wood from me, some white oak or whatever, I might be able to work a deal with them where they can actually be able to turn a profit. But I can't just sell them 1 or 2 boards here and there, because you got to think of how much time that I'm investing with each one of these buyers. We're talking hours and hours and hours that's put in to just selling one $12 board to them. It doesn't make sense. And that's why most sawmills don't sell to the public. They only sell to somebody who's going to come in and buy it in bulk. And I've tried to get some business drummed up with that, dealing with cabinet companies, and what they want to pay me for white oak, for good dried milled white oak, 60 cents a board foot. I said, why the heck would I sell you all of my work, this wood and everything, for 60 cents a board foot? I can literally take a white oak log and sell it to Missouri Walnut over here on 60 Highway, just right outside of Neosho, Missouri. It's maybe 12 miles from me. I can sell it to them for $1 a board foot. Why would I do all the milling and the drying and blah, 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 making this into S4S for you, and then you want to give me 60 cents a board foot? Come on, give me a real price and we can talk. And he hung up on me. I said, well, he tried to tell me he pays 60 cents a board foot, and I said, you're full of crap. When I can sell a log for $1 a board foot, why would I sell it do all the work and then sell it for 60 cents a board foot? You're crazy. I know that even red oak, if I was to sell red oak to them, I have to get $2.50 a board foot in order for it to make sense to do that. Otherwise, I might as well go drive a truck for Walmart. It's just, I mean, the guy, he's a good negotiator, all right? And he's trying to find a really good deal for his business that he's working for. I can't fault him for that, but I mean, to insult my intelligence like that just kind of ticked me off. And the thing is, like, that's what's sad, is there's actually a lot of people who have went out, they've bought Woodland Mill sawmills, and I see it on the Facebook group for Woodland Mills. There's a ton of people out there who are like, how much do I charge? They literally went and bought a hobby sawmill with the intent of building a lumber business, like selling lumber. And I'm like, well, yes, you can make money with that. It's not a great idea. I mean, if you want to do like what I'm trying to do, where you're not selling lumber necessarily to people in bulk or whatever, but if you're making special one-of-a-kind woodworking projects, that would make sense, okay? Because once you start demanding that kind of production from a hobbyist sawmill, well, you're crazy to do that. Now, if I was to put myself in a niche where I had a sawmill that could, let's say, mill something up to, say, 60 inches or so wide, and I'm in that market, then yes, it definitely makes sense because I don't, I mean, I could literally mill one log a month, and for each slab, I'm selling a slab for $500-600 or more per slab, and you're milling up a log that you get, say, 15 or 20 slabs out of it. You make a lot of money off of that. I actually know somebody out there who has made a business like that. They built their own sawmill that was a huge one, and they actually have somebody in their area that has a vacuum kiln. I wish I could afford a vacuum kiln because that really speeds up the process. It helps suck the moisture through the cell walls, and that's one of the biggest problems with oak is if you're using a traditional kiln to dry oak, you have to let it set for about a year to let it get down below 20% moisture content. Then you can put it in the kiln, and you have to start off at a certain moisture content, 100% humidity, blah, blah, blah. There's a recipe that you got to follow. Otherwise, you honeycomb your wood grain structure and cost yourself a bunch of money. Basically, where the cells or the straws of the wood, if you will, basically create kind of a honeycomb effect in the surface of it, which, you can deal with that in woodworking. You just end up using a bunch of wood filler. But typically, people don't want that kind of wood with like white oak or red oak. The other thing is being able to quarter saw your lumber and get that premium lumber out of your white oak or red oak and get those medullary rays in it. I'm talking a lot of stuff that is really in depth with sawmilling and everything to getting some of the best slabs that you can get, out of red oak or white oak. That's mainly what I deal with here is hardwoods, right? So there's a lot that goes into all that, milling and everything. Maybe I should do videos on that. Uh, but I feel like everyone knows these things, and then I'm proved wrong that a lot of people don't know. But then I see a lot of you guys that watch, and I'm like, well, these guys don't care like all the ins and outs of sawmilling. And there's other people that put that content out there on how to do that. And at the same time, it's like, do I share that and put that information out there for everybody? I mean, even for my competition. Uh, there for a long, long time when I was trying to sell lumber actively on Facebook Marketplace, there's a few mills around here that would literally call me up or send me messages, basically price checking me so they could know what to charge for their stuff, so they could undercut me by a little bit. And I said, you know what? This is not the niche that, this is not the direction I need to go. What I need to do is provide lumber for my own company, uh, so that I'm saving money right off the top right there. I mean, just like flipping a house, that the money's made in the purchase, right? When you buy a property to flip, the money is made in that initial deal when you buy it. Same thing with woodworking, all right? If you're buying your lumber, you're buying it from somebody, you're losing a huge amount of profit potential there. So if you're literally taking and buying it from a logger and paying them, or if you hire your own loggers to go out and get this stuff, uh, there's more potential for earnings right there. Not a whole lot. It's probably better to just pay a logger a good amount and have them bring you good logs. If you pay them good, they're going to bring you good stuff. All right, because there's several people they could sell to around here, and if they know that I'm looking for that unique grain structure and stuff, and they know how to read a log like I do, then they can bring me the good stuff that's going to make those really nice woodworking projects. And the stuff I'm looking for is the stuff that the big mill over here is basically, if they buy it, they're going to say, well, it's got this wrong with it, that wrong. What they call defects is what I call character. So that's the stuff I like, is the character, and that is sometimes that's the stuff that I would be willing to pay just a little bit more for, to get that special character, to make those really unique woodworking projects that's actually in the end going to bring more money in. that is kind of the business plan right there, is basically to make the wood go from a log to a finished product. And the thing is, you got to do it in a certain amount of time in order to get that return back on your investment, what you're putting into it. That's the real struggle. So there's a big investment initially, thousands of dollars. Mainly where I'm stuck at right now is a kiln and needing a shop that's big enough to actually, get started to do something like that. So like an eye dry kiln or a vacuum kiln or something like that is something I need to be saving up for. And so that's why I would even consider going to work for a company like Walmart and making, you know, basically, you might call it putting my dreams on hold for a little bit, but in all actuality, it would actually be putting my dreams on a fast track. Instead of it taking the next 15 years to reach a point where I could have a kiln, I could actually probably knock that down to 2 or 3 years of being able to have a kiln, maybe buying a property, uh, and having a place to, actually start setting all this up. Yeah, I mean, it's a whirlwind when I start trying to think about everything that would go into that, and then looking for employees that can make this happen. Um, I mean, initially it would probably just be me, myself, and I, maybe my brother here and there on the weekends or something. Coming out and making that happen and put it together, and eventually hiring people that can make that happen. Hire a few people who are good at what they do, kind of artistic and everything, and understand woodworking practices that they can make things happen. Also, I want to get into more of the epoxy pour and stuff like that. I would like to actually have an epoxy pour room. Uh, Another big piece of equipment I would have to get is a slab flattener. Uh, you guys have probably seen my router sled that I literally made myself, kind of out of two timber frame sawhorses that I made. I just built the whole thing out of wood, and it's out in the weather. Okay, it's not going to last much longer. Um, that's kind of sad, but it's basically to get by, and eventually I will have one that's made out of steel or aluminum or something. I know Wood Miser actually sells a CNC slab flattener. So that is, I need to invest in technology, right, to get something like a Wood Miser slab flattener, to where you don't necessarily have to hire an employee to do that process, because I mean that's a full-time job. Just to have somebody use a forklift and put a slab onto a table and then push a button on a CNC and it does its thing. When myself, I could go in, I could put a slab on there, program it for the length and the width of what it's running, and have it tell it to go down, you know 3/4 of an inch, a quarter of an inch at a time or whatever. While it's doing that, the CNC's over there doing its thing. I can go and do something else, like set up, a slab for an epoxy pour or something like that. So literally, like two people could virtually run the entire business, doing the whole thing. But at the same time, there's going to be like YouTube content going on. There's going to be like the actual business side of it. There's going to be the marketing side of it, and all that kind of stuff. The tech side, that is definitely a place where my brother would come in super handy, because of his knowledge in the tech stuff, and being computer savvy and stuff like that to get things set up. I'm sure he would be very instrumental in being able to set up like the CNC stuff, doing stuff like that. Hi, Grumpy Grandpa. Don Lee said, "Hi, Grampy." That's funny, Don. Let's see. Foreskins, what's up, man? No decision to keep this one, like it or not. I'm lost as to what you're talking about there, Foreskins. Yeah, Grumpy Grandpa said, "Yeah, I understand 100%. I'd have to be hard pressed to get back out on the road." Yeah, I mean, And that's Walmart's offering a pretty decent pay package. And the reason they offer that is they're looking for drivers like me, the top notch, not to be like, talking myself up or anything, but, my driving record and everything, having been an owner operator, having not had any accidents at fault or anything for 21 years, that's the kind of person they're looking for. All right. It is like, we've talked to Ed about it before, and I don't know that Ed, he may or may not be Walmart caliber driver, right? It is extremely hard to get on driving a truck for Walmart. They look for the very best. All right. Have you ever seen a Walmart truck in an accident? I know it's happened before, but how many times have you ever seen a Walmart truck in an accident? Ever? Have you ever? I've seen one. I've seen one Walmart truck in an accident, and it was only because I just happened to roll up on it right after it happened. And from what it looked like, it probably wasn't the truck driver's fault. And it has a lot to do with who they hire and the way they run their business. I have to put that in there too. That has a lot to do with how they run their drivers. It's a lot to do with that. A lot to do with how they maintain their equipment, how they run their business and everything. Hey, Nunya, Texas, and on the back 20. What's up? What's up, Jake? Jake from State Farm. How you doing? There's Denny going in here with all these emojis. Cheers. This old helmet. Strap on, spelled backwards, is no parts. That's a good one. I like that. Oh my gosh. Oh. Thank you. You just made my day. Crazy Ed said, that's why when I secure this property 100%, I'm going to be getting back into woodworking myself. Heck yeah, man. Got to build you a shop and, yep, get into doing some woodworking, maybe buy you a sawmill. I tell you what, if you want to get into woodworking, you got to learn how to mill, like possibly without a sawmill. I mean, eventually get you a sawmill, but I figured out early on there was no way I was going to make a dime in woodworking unless I had my own sawmill, because to source the wood is difficult. All right. In this area, there used to be a sawmill like every few miles. And since then, they all went out of business. There was actually a few sawmills right around here in Goodman, Missouri. And they, most of the people who live here have worked at a sawmill, right? And now I have one, and I've gotten a lot of people that have stopped by here. They're like, oh yeah, I used to work for the mill down the road down here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there was a mill here? And they're like, oh yeah, there used to be mills all up and down this 59 or 71, whatever they want to call it. It's changed names so many times, it's crazy. Let's see. Speaking of wood, Dave, I got big trees on ground. If you're interested, fresh cut pine and cedar, 24 to 36 inch, 60 to 90 foot. Shoot dang. Man, that's the thing. Like, where you live is somewhere in Texas, which is super far away. All right. Even if you were at the state line of Oklahoma and Texas, that is a very, 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 very long trip to haul logs to me. It would be very expensive, and what I could pay for that, if I had the capital to put into that, it simply wouldn't make any sense. I couldn't pay enough to even make it, worth it to do that. Lunch over, gotta run, stay safe. All right, Jake, we'll see you. In and out here, gotta get to the yard before it rains again. You think you might apply to drive for Walmart? Possibly. Let's see. Ed says, I could handle working for Walmart, but could Walmart handle me working for them? That's what I'm saying, Ed. I don't know that you are the caliber of driver that they're looking for. Pretty sure you and them would not be a great match. there's different kinds of drivers out there, like different personalities and everything. And I know Ed knows, like, the way Walmart runs their trucking division and stuff, there are certain drivers that just aren't a great match. Would I love my job there? Probably not. But could I do it? Definitely, I could. Uh, a lot of that has to do, like when I was hauling crude oil. All right, there is a very specific, like, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this every single time. All right, when you go to a location and you go to hook up to load crude oil, there's a very specific, like, exactly what you do. And you get in that rhythm, and that's what you do. That's very much like what Walmart is. Like, you do it exactly this way. If you don't do it exactly the way they want you to do it, you're done, right? And there's, 99% of drivers out there are going to butt heads with that system. And I mean, but Walmart is Walmart, right? And they offer that really good pay package to get those specific drivers enticed to do it. Pretty much what they're looking for is those guys who can go out and be an owner operator and make two or $300,000 a year, but they don't want that headache behind making that two or $300,000 a year. Because when they look at it, like me, myself, and I'm sitting here going, I could go into debt. I could buy a semi truck, an $80,000 or $90,000 semi truck. I can go out there and I can have that truck paid for in 2 years. I can make $300,000 a year with it. I could do that. But do I really want to do that? I mean, it's just like any other business. Like, let's say if you was to start up a restaurant, you are married to that business. Like that, you better love what you're doing, because that you're going to eat, sleep, and breathe that 100%. Is that truly what you want to do for the next 5 to 10 years in order to start turning a profit? If you truly love it, I mean, yeah, sure, it might be great for you. That's not my dream. So there's guys out there like myself that would say, you know what? I don't want the headache of owning the truck. And, I've got several million safe miles under my belt. I know the routine and everything. I know all the ins and outs about it. Like, if there's something wrong with that truck, I know about it. I'm not a newbie driver who doesn't know. I've actually worked on trucks. I can go in there and change the motor out on it. All right. But I don't want that headache. So I can go work for them. If there's something wrong with that truck, at Walmart, I can say, hey, truck number blah, blah, blah has this wrong with it. And they're going to have another truck to say, okay, go get this one. All right. Go out there, inspect that one, hop in it, and down the road. Let's see. I've seen people lose their cool over a tipped pallet or something. I've been doing this nearly 20 years. I have learned these things happen, and to fix it and go with the flows to get the job done. Yeah, I think that's another thing is like you pretty much have to keep your cool, especially with a company like that. I like for other companies, I've seen drivers. I've unloaded my own trucks before as a lumper service. Basically, like pulling a reefer trailer. That's another side of that business. Is when you unload. Sometimes you're supposed to pay a lumper, and sometimes let's say you got a 34-hour restart, and you're like, man, I got all the time in the world, and so you can unload your trailer yourself and make $200 or $300 an hour unloading your own trailer. And so while I'm in there on the dock unloading, and then I see other drivers come in and they just flip out over some little thing, you can't do that with a company like Walmart. You just, no, you don't do that. There is a certain atmosphere that they're aiming for their employees and stuff like that. And so that's another thing is like, you don't get to just lose your cool over some stupid little crap. Otherwise, you're done, right? They won't tolerate that sort of thing. That's one thing I always thought highly of, like a Walmart driver. Like I've seen Walmart drivers, they wear a certain, button-up shirt and everything to work. That's kind of what I'm talking about. They're not just a T-shirt like any other driver. They are held to a higher standard than your average driver. They are expected to present themselves 100% professional all the time. In the truck, out of the truck, just walking through the store or whatever. When you see a Walmart driver, what I'm used to seeing, I haven't seen one in a while, but they will wear like a button-up shirt that's tucked in, and they got the American flag patch on their shoulder. All right, that's what I'm used to seeing. I don't know if it's like that anymore, but that's what I'm seeing. Presenting themselves 100% professional all of the time. It's not like the average Joe truck driver out there that's wearing flip-flops and a tank top and shorts, out there driving a truck. And when you dress like that, you tend to not be as professional when you're driving the truck. Those are the kind of drivers you see out there who get rammy on the road. They tend to cut people off or push them, over. You can't do that if you're working for a company like Walmart. That's what I'm saying. There's like totally different caliber of driver out there. There's the ones who are 100% professional. There's other guys who are, maybe not quite as professional. I'm not saying Ed is the guy wearing flapjacks out there, but he is. Let's just say he's learned a few bad habits that would probably be kind of hard for him to break, and I don't know that him and Walmart would be a good fit. We talked about that for a little bit one day. I was like, I could do it. I know what it entails, right? And I know I could do it. But do I really want to? I don't know. I'm not where I live. I'm not. I'm probably an hour away from Bentonville, so it wouldn't be a big deal. That's still like an hour commute to work every day or every few days. Um, I really don't know all the ins and outs, like how often they're home, but I think in general they're home like every other night, probably, or every 3 days or so. Just kind of depends on the route, I would imagine. Um, but yeah, I mean, I might end up doing that. It's really kind of coming down to the wire where I've pretty much got to make a decision on if I'm going to go out and drive a truck, who am I going to go work for? I've narrowed it down basically to either Walmart or CEI. I've worked for CEI before. I haven't worked for Walmart before, so really, honestly, most everything I know about Walmart is hearsay. Uh, I've delivered a lot to Walmart, to distribution centers, to their stores a few times, mostly to like Sam's Club. Did I ever have a bad experience? Yeah, one time. It was actually to the Sam's Club in Joplin, believe it or not. Uh, Went there. I had an appointment. I was there before my appointment. I checked in right on time, and they hem-hawed around, but it was what it was. I just said, well, I guess I'm here for the next 12 hours. And I literally just started my day. So that kind of sucked. But I mean, those are things that are going to happen in trucking. Like, you got to understand, like, in trucking, 99% of that job is just having patience, right? Being patient with people. Do I like people that much? Like, not really. I don't like being in a crowd of people that I feel antsy around that or whatever, which is probably why I like trucking. I'm not, I don't really dislike it because it's nice because you get to go see the country, you get to drive around, the scenery changes, you get to deal with different people, and you're not typically in a crowd. In this area right here, I'm typically not going to be in heavy city traffic like Chicago or New York City because, well, I'm simply not going to be driving that far if I drive for them. So I don't know. I got to make a decision pretty soon, though. What are you talking about bad habits, David? You know what I'm talking about, Ed. Uh, those bad habits where we don't like e-logs, right? We don't like logbooks. I mean, when I first started driving, we had logbooks, right? But did we follow all the little rules of a logbook? Like when me and my brother was team driving, there was a lot of times he was driving when we were on my logbook, or I was driving when we were on his logbook. Uh, but we never drove tired. Is the thing. Uh, we definitely were safe all the time. I want to point that out. And that's where where I disagree with logbooks is because logbooks basically takes the freedom away from you and forces you to drive when you're tired. I know there was plenty of days where I could go out there, hop in the truck, and I could drive for 24 hours straight and not be tired not one time. And then there was days where I could hop behind the wheel and I could drive for 30 freaking minutes and I start being drowsy and I'd just pull over and go to bed. I mean, you're not going to be the same every day when you live in that truck and that's all you do. Um, and so that's why I hate logbooks. I hate e-logs because all that does is honestly it puts the power back to the dispatcher or the company for them to say, hey, you had 10 hours of rest. They don't know whether you slept or not. And they're like, hey, you've been off duty for 10 hours. Get your butt up and drive that truck. You got to get there. Um, that's all logbooking does is it puts that power into the hands of the dispatcher or the company to force a driver to drive when they're tired. I always hated that. And so we learn little bad habits of, flubbing on the logbook or whatever, which is really hard to do now with e-logs. Our cabin in the woods, what's up? Good morning. Damn, I've been on here almost 3 hours already. Daggone. Let's see. Drivers in my area are typically from Bentonville, Arkansas, or Ochalata, Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure I butchered that. I typically deal with a driver about 15 minutes. If they call ahead or radio when they get there, we try to get them in and out fast. Heck yeah. Yeah, the only real problem I ever had with Walmart was when I would deliver to a distribution center. And typically I would be at a distribution center 10 or 12 hours. So if I could time it to where I had just ran pretty much a full day and was ready, to go to bed, and then I get to a Walmart distribution center because I pretty well knew I was going to be there 8 to 10 hours getting offloaded. You go in, you deal with paying for whatever it costs for getting it offloaded or whatever, deal with that stuff, and go back out. You have to disconnect from your trailer. You always got to drop your trailer. They lock it up, blah, blah, blah. They go through that whole procedure. And then you bobtail over, you go park and go to bed. What really sucked is when you weren't ready to go to bed. You basically, like, for whatever reason, life happens and you only been driving for 2 or 3 hours. So you just barely started your day and then you're delivering to a Walmart distribution center and you're there forever. All right. It's a logistics problem that I've run into a lot with delivering to a distribution center. But I think, as a Walmart driver, to pick up from a distribution center and go to a store, I'm not saying there's not going to be those, scenarios where just everything didn't work out right or whatever. It's obviously going to happen. Life is life. But, for the most part, yeah, it's either going to be drop and hook, or you stop at this store, unload so much stuff, go to the next one, unload so much stuff. It'd be pretty, for the most part, in general, I would say it'd be pretty cool. Crazy ass. And when it comes to me driving, I don't do any bad habits. I follow the rules. That's a bad habit in itself right there. You follow the rules. You can't actually be a safe driver and follow the rules perfectly. There's some times where you may have to do a sudden lane change or something like that. And then the truck records that and you're going to catch flack for it, but you avoided a wreck or something, right? There's all kinds of rules like no hard braking, right? And when you do hard braking, you get in trouble at some of these companies like Walmart. So someone cuts you off and you get on the brakes real hard. They're like, hey, hard braking. The computer recorded that, and they call you in. They want to chew you out, or they want to ask you why you were so close to this vehicle, whatever, because a lot of times that camera only records those few seconds right after that guy, cut in front of you and slammed on the brakes, right? And so you're dealing with corporate. So those are little crap things that you're going to end up dealing with corporate, just because of the way all that stuff works out. And so you catch the crap end of it on that sort of thing. But at the same time, you didn't hit anybody. You didn't get into an accident, right? So I mean, there's rules. Rules are set in place to, have boundaries. Uh, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, Ed. You've got bad habits. Everyone who's drove for a general trucking company has bad habits when in comparison with Walmart. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Walmart trucking is very structured, is what I'm trying to say. TJ said, "Yeah, I think that would be a whole different experience." Yeah, yeah. The going from like a contractor delivering to a Walmart distribution center to being a Walmart driver, totally two different worlds. A lot of Walmart warehouses, people are very rude. Eh, on on the side of dealing with the general contractor truck driver, yes, because they deal with that BS every day, and I see why. I mean, they're dealing with a-hole truck drivers all day long, every day, and so yeah, they're pushed to their limits every day because they have impatient drivers who don't see like what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, like literally every day of their life. Yes, things are always backed up, and if every truck driver out there, a general contractor bringing stuff to a Walmart distribution center, would just understand that and be like, hey, it is what it is. It's always a hurry up and wait, and come in there with a freaking good attitude instead of being a jerk, and bitching that their company, not them, that their company has to pay $50 to get the truck unloaded. It's all built into the price. What does it matter to that truck driver? I mean, especially when that truck driver isn't paying that out of pocket, but they want to come in and bitch about it. It's stupid. It's stupid. I mean, literally, you go in, you write a check, you call your company, you get a confirmation number, and you give them the check, $50 or whatever. It might be 75 by now. I don't know. But I know when I was driving, it was $50 to get it unloaded. I mean, it was just a thing. There you go. See you. Have a nice day. Whatever. If you go in there expecting that you're going to be there for 8 hours, that's fine. And usually those truck drivers that deal with that and they turn into an a-hole is because they have a dispatcher on the other side, and that's actually where the BS should be, directed towards your dispatcher. That's like, hey, I've got a load for you to pick up, 2 hours after you get to your destination at Walmart. All right, well, if that dispatcher or broker that you're dealing with would pull his head out of his butt and understand that every time you go to a DC, you might as well just put in 12 hours. That truck's going to be down. If you had that situation, better planning, it would help out a lot on that sort of thing. Debbie Shrimman, have to deal with a-hole management at the stores too. I worked for Walmart for 12 and a half years as an overnight stalker. My mom used to be a overnight stalker at Walmart. Let's see. Lunch is done. Heading back out, David, and you all have a great day. Good luck on finding a job. Thank you. Yeah, I've been on here almost 3 hours, guys. I'm gonna have to get off here. I got some framing up to do in here. I sit here. I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning or so, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I ended up making some coffee, so I could actually go back to bed. And it took me a little bit. Kind of weird. Like sometimes I drink coffee and it makes me tired. Like at night, it'll make me tired, but in the mornings it'll wake me up. Weird. But anyways, I sit here and I got to thinking and just visualizing how I could do the bathroom area, because I was initially planning on putting some walls up, basically framing in where the hump is for the fender well. And I thought, man, that's an awful small. Like, if you have a wall on both sides of you, and you're sitting there on a composting toilet, and you got like a wall right here, and a wall right here, and a little bitty window beside you, I thought, that'd be a little cramped. I don't know that that's how I want it to be. So I started rethinking things, and so I got the gears turning in my head a little bit. So things are going to look a little different. It's not going to be that small of a space. It's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty cool, and you guys will like it. So I got to get to working out all the specifics on that and getting that framed up, seeing what that's going to look like. At the same time, the wall beside me not being a full wall, maybe something where it kind of feels like you have a little bit of privacy or whatnot, but at the same time where you can open a window beside you and have a breeze still be able to come through the bus. Those are the kind of things I'm trying to think of ahead of time. So let's see. Overnight stocking is a tough job. Nothing but respect to you. Been there, done that. Yeah. All right, guys. I am going to hop out of here. We've hit the 3-hour mark. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for stopping by. Later.